Hence, we are coming to the senators, to the members of parliament, to MCS and women. We are going to deal with you. Hata mkikuwa wapi, tukiona tu gari yenu, tunastone hiyo gari. Mkipitisha hii finance bill, mtaona, mtajua ni nyinyi ndio tumeweka kwa hiyo.
Katambe, ni nyinyi mmechoose hiyo side, hakuna mtu amewaforce. Wacha Katambe, kama unitambui, pia mimi sikutambui boss. Wacha Katambe. Mnasema mnataka kupea Kenya bright future. True, juu Zakayo akishuka nirudishia kila mtu mali yake times
4. Jiulize swali wewe, kama Mkenya mwenzangu. Dedan Kimathi, Achieng' Oneko, Martin Shupuku, Matiba, JM Kariuki, Helena Chelagat, Wangari Maathai, George Anyona, ungekuwa wapi sasa? Ungekuwa hapa nje ya bunge ukirepresent sauti ya wananchi. So on Tuesday tunataka kuchunga hii building. Tuambie mkinge kwa hiyo bunge, you vote the people want. Ruto aende angalie budget yake, aseme kitu ambacho anataka to reduce. Hii nchi ni yetu. Nchi si ya Ruto ama mama ya Ruto. This country belongs to all of us. So the sovereign power belongs to the people. Sisi tumepatia Ruto kazi. Na tumesema kama as taxpayers, you have to listen to our voices, because the people's voice is the voice of God.
Sound Candy Talk sasa imeboreshwa zaidi. Kila siku ya wiki asubuhi tunapambazuka na maabudu na sifa kwenye kipindi cha Daybreak Worship. Baadaye tunakuletea mahojiano ya moja kwa moja kwenye one-on-one show. Alafu tunakuletea taarifa zinavyochipuka siku hiyo zikiwa ange kwenye In the News Headlines. Kisha tunaingia bungeni. Viongozi tuliowachagua tuangalie wanafanya nini bungeni.
On a daily basis, whenever the House is sitting, the order paper is here.
I take any work that I'm given very seriously.
Not have favors. It's not appointed because you come from Nyeri.
Kisha baadaye usiku tunakutana kwenye Open Forum Political Show, kipindi kinachotadavua na kufafanua makala na taarifa zinazokuhusu zaidi.
Sasa hii ndiye time ya kuweka kila mtu question mark one by one. Ruto tumeshaweka question mark ya kutosha.
Umeenda mpaka umevuka border, umeanza kudanganya watu wenye wako US na nchi zingine.
Kazi ya kiongozi ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba vijana wako kazi.
Tazama Sound Candy Talk uelemike. Tukutane Sound Candy Talk.
Oh, sorry for that. Well, once more, good evening and good afternoon from wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to Sound Candy Talk. This is the Open Forum Political Show where we make sense of our politics and the issues that are bedeviling us as a people, as a nation, as the Kenyan people. Now, I want you to welcome you to the show. It's 23 minutes past 11 p.m. here in Nairobi. My name is Douglas. Now, before we get into today's stories, I would love to welcome those of you who are already tuned in, the silent viewers and those in the comment section already. Mato and everyone else. We have to name Hamud, who is reminding you to like and share out this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already done that, and like this video and share it out so that we may have more people coming in to join us in the conversation. Esther Stahl says, good evening, Bernard and all of you. Bernard will not be around. I guess I already explained that. He is still feeling unwell. But yeah, good evening. We are still the team and we are going to be here. Green, welcome to the show. Green says, Mr. Ruto, Adani has been exposed by God. His wicked heart makes hell stink. We have Christine Mokami, Gypsy Corner, Halima Hassan, welcome to the show. We have Annie, as usual, welcome to the show, Annie. And everyone else who is tuned in the background. Continue sharing out the video so that we may have more people tuning in to engage with us in the comment section. So I'm going to be sending out the link and inviting you into the studio to join me in the conversation. Now, President Ruto has made a turnaround on his words couple of months ago during the Gen Z revolution, where he said that the Ford Foundation are behind the Gen Z protests that were happening in the country. But today, we've seen him meeting with the president of the Ford Foundation, not gotten his name correctly, but I'm going to get that later. And he says, now he praises the Ford Foundation, saying that they have played a big part in promoting the democracy in Kenya. Well, I want to hear what you think about that. In other news, Parliament have halted the JKIA Adani Deal, which has rocked the nation in the past couple of years. I think we've been taking a detour from this main conversation and focusing on the sideshows. And today I want us to focus back on this issue, on the issue of accountability. Let's make sense of it. And, that forms my poll question tonight. I'm asking you, do you think Parliament was right to halt the controversial JKIA Adani deal? Do you think Parliament was right to halt the controversial JKIA Adani deal? The poll question is out there in the main channel, Sound Candid Talk, and the backup channel, Sound Candid Talk Live. Tell me what you think. And join me in the studio and tell me why you think so. In other news, again, we have Gen Z petitioners who marched to the president's office to present the names to petition against the killings of the protesters and the abductions. But as usual, we have police molesting them, the brutality. We're going also to be looking at that. But as usual, one story at a time. So as we begin, let me introduce my first story tonight, and I'm welcoming you to the show. I've sent out the link in the comment section. Join me in the studio so that we may have this conversation together. But for now, let's take a look at this story.
Tonight. Now, Parliament has directed the Office of the Auditor General to conduct a special audit of the Adani JKIA takeover deal and present its report within 14 days. The Public Investment and Commercial Affairs Committee, chaired by Pokot South MP David Picos Singh, wants the Auditor General to, among other things, unearth the deals behind the privately initiated proposal that will see East Africa's busiest hub under the Indian firm for 30 years. Stephen Latour reports.
The Adani JKIA takeover deal has suffered another setback, with the National Assembly roping in Auditor General Nancy Gathungu's office into the matter. The National Assembly's Public Investment and Commercial Affairs Committee, while meeting with the Kenya Airports Authority over the matter, said the Adani JKIA takeover deal is clouded in suspicion and has called on the Office of the Auditor General to carry out a special audit within 14 days.
That because we are going to order for a special audit, that you don't do anything with Adani until this committee presents a report to Parliament. If you do it, it's up to you. Yes. Maybe Adani is here or being represented.
The roping in of the Auditor General into the Adani probe, prompted by a wide array of issues, the committee says remain unexplained, even after holding meetings with the contracting authority KAA and the Transport Ministry.
Because it looks like you people cannot guide yourselves. It is musical chairs. And even if ministers are called, they will of course defend a position, which maybe Adani is directing them to say what they're saying in Parliament. So we'll give our way. So how will we give our way? This is now the special audit. It's now the special audit. So auditor,
JKIA is Kenya, and Kenya is JKIA. You haven't had that, you need to take that to the bank. Messing up JKIA is messing up Kenya. We will not allow it.
Remember, Adani is now everywhere. He's in Shaf, he's Chief, he's here, he's in energy, he's everywhere. He's taking over this country. He's now becoming a shareholder of this country.
Parliament wants the Auditor General to audit the process that arrived at Adani Airport Holdings as the most suitable entity to run JKIA. In addition, the David Kosing-led watchdog committee wants the Nancy Gathungu office to probe the scope of Adani's work in the deal and establish if Adani is the best developer. The committee wants the Auditor General to hold sittings with relevant stakeholders to establish if the PIP was the best way and if there was any other developer that was locked out. The lawmakers want the Auditor General to come through the Adani deal and investigate what it has for other airports and airstrips in the country and the fate of KAA employees.
at this stage, Adani is a strange animal, which is being pushed by some strange people, maybe in KAA or in this country.
I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt that the person sitting here by the name of CEO of KAA knows the truth and nothing but the truth. So may God help you to tell Kenyans the truth. That I'm sure of. Thank you.
The committee termed the Adani deal as a daylight mortgaging of the country's assets. On the other end, Treasury CS John Mbadi was appearing before the Public Debt and Privatization Committee, where he defended the deal, particularly on the fate of KAA employees.
During the interim management period, the JKIA employees will remain employed by the grantor. The concessionaire will make an offer to the existing employees on terms that are no less favorable to their existing terms of employment. But it goes further to say, upon the commencement date, the assenting JKIA employees, and that is the terminology that I wanted to come out, assenting, because you can't be forced to be onboarded, shall be, and it is mandatory, shall be transferred to the concessionaire.
MPs say they will table a report with the recommendations by end of next month. Stephen Letos, Citizen TV.
Now tonight the government has been dealt another blow.
Now the struggle to capture or to preserve or to develop the East Africa's busiest airport continues. So this happened today. Yesterday, Treasury CS Honorable John Mbadi presented himself before a Senate committee to offer the documents to sort of let in Parliament on the insides of the deal, and he was unable to defend, and that ended in a heated debate. Well, we didn't get a chance to talk about that, but I have some bites and I'm going to play them later. But right now I'm being joined by Kenya Mkora, who is with me in studio today. Kenya Mkora, vipi?
Niko sawa, unajua niko na haraka kidogo. I just stepped outside because I'm in a place where this is not my time. I normally come in later. Lakini, you see the things that I was telling you, bro. Anyway, let me first of all start by wacha nioshe mkono. Huwezi gilia chakula kama hujanawa mkono. So how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir. How are you?
I'm good. You see, the reason yesterday I was so mad, and I'm telling you guys, I'm so mad. Yani, the nonsense that is happening in Kenya, bro. Here comes the thing, and maybe as you continue with your show, thank you so much for starting the show. One thing that you need to also educate people is that irregardless, we've already lost 50 million. Actually, I think it's 50 billion
50 billion on?
Because he had security of tenure that, the company. Adani is Ruto. Ruto is Adani. Okay? Yeah, there was no contract there. We knew it was gonna end. There was nothing that was gonna come in there. But what they did, if you look at the documents, which some of us have, is that regardless if they didn't get the contract, we had to pay them. So we're still gonna pay them. Kenyans should not feel like they've ran away from this thing. You're still gonna pay them for a contract signed and not. A contract that you guys never, what do you call this? You never came through with it. So there's some money that is gonna go either way, whether you like it or not. And some of these people know. The people those MPs, they know, and they know that is what is gonna happen. So we don't think that we've run away from this thing. Money is gonna be. We're still gonna lose money for security or tenure. And this is the nonsense that I was talking about yesterday, Mr. Chair, about where people play gimmicks and kakasungura games, and eventually they still run away with something. And you can see them talking like they're serious in parliament or in their committees, but there's nothing there right there. They already knew this was going to go because they knew Kenyans will not agree onto this deal. And the reason they did not agree onto this deal because it was skewed with malice and everything and corruption. So basically what has happened right now, tumekulwa what you call budgeted corruption. It's already budgeted. And yes, Adani, whoever Adani is, I know it's Ruto and his cronies, they still will get something. And it's there written. That is what Okia Omtata was trying to bring out. And you can see even the Cheral gaze of a day trying to tell them that I don't agree with this and everything. Now, the next one, onto the next one, I'll just say it real quick. I'll come back and explain later. The next one is the CDF. The CDF, you can look at them. I don't want to mess your show by bringing too many things, but you can see the CDF now. They've all come in together, and they want to change the constitution so that it accounts for the CDF. The nonsense that is happening in that house is the reason I feel bad, because Gen Z should have burned that house and never left it to stand another single day. Maybe Wagehamia went there, I don't know, maybe move to Ruai or somewhere else. But I'm telling you, Mr. Chair, the nonsense that is happening in that government, and I'm talking this, whoever wants to sue me, sue me can sue me. I have the documents, some of the documents that I know I have. People send them to us, and we know what is happening. That Adani deal, that is exactly what was supposed to happen. They cancel it so that they get that money, because that money will be unaccounted for, or on a different kind of way you're talking about it, it will be budgeted, something budgeted on it.
So like how much are we talking?
We're talking about close to 50B.
50B. Well, isn't that well, I don't know, is it that better than losing the airport to a corrupt organization for 30 years?
But you see, that is exactly what it is. If you want to get if I want to buy your car at 100B, I will come and offer you something and tell you your car has high mileage, so that for you feel that's too many mileage and whatever. I'll have to use something on the side to kind of put you to go to settle with the lower with the lesser devil. So now if I tell you 50B for ile kituoto tumepitia, the 50 pages, 68 pages, or almost 100 pages that we had to go and get people to draw this, this line and everything. So for you, guess what you will feel? You will feel it's easier. Let me just part with the 50B rather than 30 years. So I bring in something. That's a conmanship. That's how it works, brother. I'm sorry. That's how it works. I apologize.
Well, okay. I wanted to. You watched Mbadi in Senate yesterday, right? Mato.
Yes, I did, and he was given questions that he couldn't even look in his books. At least his books he couldn't take anything. Sometimes he was looking at the DG and telling him, let the DG talk about this, because I think Mbadi has been put in a very bad place that he doesn't even know what to do. And I'm telling you, like I told you yesterday, let them fight, because I'm telling you, Mbadi and these other guys actually will come from the people. They will talk. Sometime will come and people will talk. Kina Gachagua, Kina Mbadi, all these people will come out with it. You saw Junet Mohammed for the first time. He hasn't spoken in parliament for a long time. You saw him starting to speak. I'm telling you, there's a long list of something that is happening here. And the best way we can do is let them do. Kidogo, as I finish, so that I'll come back later. You saw them try to arrest Boniface Mwangi. What did you know what Burkina Boniface Mwangi were going to do? They were taking another paperwork to show what exactly is happening. Kenyans are not stupid. We're getting these things, especially, and even you, Mr. Chair, you will start getting people reach out. They tell you, people in the treasury, police, they are telling you, they are giving you everything. It's so bad that I don't know, maybe wacha niwasikize kidogo, because sitaki kuachilia vitu huku naweza shikwa pia mimi, but it's bad. I saw somebody else mwenye alikuwa, please come back, because me, I have to leave again. I just took a break from work. You know, at this time I'm always working, so but I'll come back again like we did yesterday. So I'll come back again. But I hope you start understanding that this thing is very skewed, and they are playing us. That parliament thing, that was just a game. I mean, they were just there. They know the money that, and most of them they're already getting their money. Ruto, this thing, the only way we can save our country is just bring back the Gen Zs and bring back that fight that we had, and speak with the police vizuri, waache kutuchapa and things like that, so that we go back to where we are actually thinking about our country. Otherwise, tunadanganyana, danganya toto. Unatudanganya, some of us are engineers, you tell us that kitu itakuwa nini. Kwanza, it's very insulting. That's why I was telling you yesterday. I nimejam. Na by the way, nitakuwa nimejam for a while. So you better be ready to host me when I'm nimejam. Wacha nimaliza job narudi.
What time are you coming back? By the way, yesterday we asked a question, but you didn't give us the answer. You asked me who is Adani, and I wasn't sure how to answer that. So who's Adani?
And I will ask you again, and I will ask our viewers, who's Adani? Ile siku mtu atakuja hapa, because I'm listening. By the way, when I'm hata kaa siko hapa juu, I'm listening. I want someone to come here and tell me who is Adani. Why is he not being called into the parliament to go and answer those questions, the questions that they're asking? Why do we have Kenyan ministers or, PSs answering for him and, wanting to tell us his net worth and talking about 100 billion or whatever, 100 billion US dollars? Why can't he come himself and say, okay, this is the business module that I've given you guys, and this is what I'm trying to do, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to do for the 30 years that we're talking about? Why can't we have that investor come actually to the parliament himself, just the way the sugarcane guy, alikuwa anaitwa nani? I know Mr. Chota.
The Indian guy.
Yeah, the sugarcane guy from Muhoroni or something. See,
Ule Muhindi.
he came to Parliament,
Yes, he did.
right? And he was taking pictures with the MPs. Why can't Adani come and take those pictures with the MPs?
We have his proxies, maybe.
Which proxies kina yeah. Ile ujige iko Kenya bwana bro. Hebu acha kwanza niende nitarudi. You continue. But I've started your show and I'm saying, we're here. I'm really listening. I'm behind because at some point we will have to stop with the nonsense. This is stupidity ya Kenya bwana. Nilikwambia nimejam na nitakuwa nimejam the whole of this week. I'll be here. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you so much for taking your time and giving us a place to stay. I mean, a place to have our conversations. I really appreciate this is Sound Candy Talk. Everybody that is here, we really want to support Douglas and everything that he's doing. It doesn't take, I've been in that chair. I understand it. But you guys, please join, like, share, and also join the show so that you don't let him just be by himself. Let's have this conversation because we really need to have this conversation. If we don't have it, we cannot go to NTV, we cannot go to the mainstream media. But Douglas is taking his own time to come here and give us that chance to really have a conversation of our country. And the funny thing that people do not understand is that this channel is listened high and wide by the politicians, by everybody. And some of the times we actually make the topic of the days of the mainstream media. So, ladies and gentlemen, even though me najitoa, but Douglas, I really appreciate you and the people that are out there. Please join Sound Candy Talk. Invite anybody, like, share, and everything, and support Douglas. And he's taking his own time. Instead of sleeping, the man has decided to give you a platform. Thank you, guys. Tupatane baadaye. Douglas, nitarudi
Yes, sir.
baadaye.
Thank you, Mato. Thank you, Kenya Mkora.
You Mato sijini na nimisi YouTube.
Thank you, Kenya Mkora. Kenya Mkora there with some insights for us. Thank you for joining me, and I'll be expecting you to be back. Tuambie who is Adani. But Kenya Mkora has asked you, my people, to who is Adani?
Douglas.
Welcome. Yes.
If you can answer who's Singh.
If I can answer?
Who is Singh? If you remember sometime, there was a civil land that was ilikuwa inatuliambiwa wenyewe ni Indians who are called Singh.
Singh.
Yeah, Singh. Talk about it like, I mean, pronounce it as an Indian. Singh. Wala wakuva kilemba.
Singh.
Yeah. There was a couple of Singh that we were told they held the civil land avionics right across the street from Wilson Airport. Certain school there, primary school that was called what? I know you remember it very well.
Yeah, I remember seeing. Sini wale wanavanga
Vilemba.
Yeah.
Tuliambiwa hiyo land kuna mtu anaitwa Singh. Do you get my point? I'm trying to be sarcastical.
So
at that time we were told Singh was the owner of that land of Weston. This time now we're being told the owner of this deal is Adani. And everything ends up to either Nigeria or India. Yep. Kenyans, wake up! Nini? Wacha nimenyamazia hapo. Hiyo nitakupatia tafakari ya babu.
But I wanted us to dive deeper into this conversation. So I wanted us to take a look at what happened at Senate yesterday. Yesterday, when Treasury CS John Mbadi presented himself before a Senate committee, to explain the Kenya Kwanza skunk, as he used to call it when he
But
was in.
let me tell you, my brother, there's nothing you expect Mbadi or anyone to explain. There's nothing to explain. They cannot. They will run around. They will, it's a, what do you call it? It's a run around. They will run around. They will never ask. I mean, sometimes I wish you, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Chair, I wish you could go to that parliament and they give you a chance to just ask the questions that you have in your mind, because I know you have a lot of questions in your mind. I wish they could
Yes.
just let you go and ask yourself. The problem is that we have no precincts. We cannot get into that parliament. We just did it the other time with the Gen Zs. But I bet if today the questions that you have in your mind, you went in there and asked the questions that you have, I can bet you none of them will answer you that question. I mean, it will answer your questions. So anyways, like I said, asante sana, thank you so much. I just wanted to come haraka, and then I'll meet you on the other side. I'll be back probably here in about 1 hour. Thank you.
Thank you, Mkenya Mkora, for that contribution, and hopefully my people will join me, and so that we can have this conversation. I can't have the conversation by myself, although I have you in the comment section, but I still need you to come into the studio so that we can have the conversation. It takes two to tangle. So, Innocent, if you're out there, Jakindube, Lala, I'll still be waiting for Mato. We had Dixon. I don't know if that was intentional. You fell out of the studio. I'm still inviting you in. I don't know what happened. Dixon Kosgei, if I'm not wrong. I'm still inviting you into the studio. I think he fell. He dropped off the studio. I'm still waiting for you. But let's take a look at some few comments here. Before I play that bite from yesterday, when Treasury CS John Mbadi presented himself before a Senate committee to just explain what this deal is about, and he couldn't. So Amato earlier was talking about the CDF, the issue around the CDF. These MPs collectively crying over court orders that they want CDF, but when it comes to matters serious, they collectively gang together. The elective seats need made very unattractive. Kudos courts. Tuned in anyways. Hope we can discuss it today. They want to change the constitution, how to accommodate CDF instead of making education free. Lirogo na nani wa Kenya. So that's just his sentiments concerning the issue around CDF. Although we may not have that conversation, but we can always find space for it, because it's still an issue that concerns us as Kenyans. I think I'd read this comment by Green. Who else? We have Halima Hassan saying Bernard to name Muhammad, Esther Stahl, Mato, Makandets, and everyone else in the SCT discussion program. Just saying hi there. Well, remember to like, share, and subscribe the channel. I have Daniel Gobai with me inside the studio, but before I bring him in, I want us I want to play you that bite so that I may bring you up to speed. Those of you who may not have checked that story out yesterday. Still, I have my poll question out there. I'm asking you, do you think Parliament was right to hold the controversial JKIA Adani Deal? Do you think Parliament was right to hold the controversial JKIA Adani Deal? 24 votes on the backup channel. 88% of you say yes, Parliament was right to hold it. 12% of you say no. 12 votes on the main channel, 89% of you, actually 19 now, 90% of you say yes, Parliament was right, 8% of you say no. Okay, so before I bring in Daniel Gobai, let me play you some bites here, then he can tell us what he thinks. So let's take a look at this.
Of this live newscast. Meanwhile, Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi told Parliament that Treasury Principal Secretary Chris Kiptoo approved the now controversial Adani deal, which he says is at the negotiation phase. Mbadi also promised the National Assembly's Transport Committee that he will undertake due diligence. He was hard-pressed to explain the rationale in the public-private partnership and the procedure behind the lucrative deal. Here is Grace Nganga with that detailed report.
It has now emerged that the proposal by Indian firm Adani to refurbish Jomo Kenyatta International Airport was approved by Treasury Principal Secretary Dr. Chris Kiptoo. In response to inquiries by the Senate Transport Committee on the Public-Private Partnerships PPP process, Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi revealed that all approvals were sanctioned by the PPP committee, which is chaired by Kiptoo.
The PPP committee, in line with its mandate as provided in section 42.8 and 43.11, approved the privately initiated proposal to move to the project development phase and the negotiation phase, respectively.
Approval by the PPP committee is the crux of the matter.
The Senate committee, chaired by Kiambu Senator Kirongo Thangwa, was also informed that the Kenya Airports Authority, KAA, sought guidance from the PPP committee on how to prioritize the proposed concession for JKIA to a private investor, with plans to build a new terminal and refurbish the existing one under a PPP agreement.
So the Senate probe into the Adani JKIA takeover deal turned chaotic as senators engaged in a bitter exchange of words with Treasury CS John Mbadi, who was appearing before the Transport Committee. Attempts by the committee chair Karungu Wadhangwa to restore order was met with hostility by the senators Richard Onyonka, Edwin Sifuna and Samson Cherargei, who walked out of the session in protest. Stephen Leto has more.
When the afternoon session began and Treasury CS John Mbadi took the witness seat to defend government over the controversial Adani JKIA takeover deal, tension was palpable.
People are being fired from work. Look at those workers. Go and see them when you're traveling. Chair, point of order, Chair. Can I have sad what we are doing to...
But it is Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka's new evidence that broke the camel's back. Onyonka tabled 3 companies that he claimed had written to the Kenya Airports Authority, also showing interest in the taking over JKIA, but were ignored, with KAA insisting that only Adani had showed interest and processed the private-initiated proposal to take over JKIA.
Did you receive a letter through you, Chair, from any other company other than Adani requesting to do this project?
The answer is no, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to table, I have 3 letters which were written by 2 different companies. Adani was the 3rd one.
First letter, I'm just giving...
CS is wasting our time.
Let him finish. You are equally also maybe wasting my time.
There's nothing we are discussing, John.
Please, let's respect each other.
Allow the CS to...
If you ask me a question, I've come here. This is a matter of national importance, for heaven's sake. Let us be
the reason why I am reacting to you the way I am is because you've not even seen the letter.
I have not come here.
And you're busy responding. Stop gatekeeping.
I've come here.
These things you can't gatekeep anymore. Stop gatekeeping.
And please,
we must deal with this issue nationally. It's a national important
here
issue.
To supply information. Wait for the information. If you don't need it, Kenyans need it.
Proceed.
Order, Senator Onyonka.
Kenyans need the information. And I'm giving it to you.
Chair, Honorable CS, now you are heckling. You are out of order.
You're equally letting me.
This is the tradition of ODM to echo.
Chair, you can... If the CS is tired of answering questions by the representatives of the people, let him tell us.
Let him tell us. He can walk out and come back on a day that he feels his temperament is something that is befitting of a cabinet secretary of the Republic of Kenya. This is Parliament. We are not here to be nice to each other. You are saying you are giving answers to the public. Those public don't ask you those questions anymore. They ask us. We are the ones elected by the public. So, Honorable.
Well, there you have it. So that's what went down in Senate yesterday when CS Mbadi presented himself before Parliament. Right now I have Daniel Gobai with me in studio. Daniel.
Hello. Good morning.
It's good evening where I am.
Hello.
But good evening, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah,
Good morning, my friends. You come from Nairobi?
Yes. Good morning, today it's 12 a.m. Good morning.
Okay, thank you. How are
Welcome.
you speaking?
Pardon?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Information. How are you now? Nairobi and country Kenya.
Well, okay. Talk to me.
Okay, thank you. Political here. I from West Papua. But I from West Papua. West Papua. Now, Freedom West Papua activists now negotiation from country in Indonesia now. But I for we now just know the island same we international and activists for freedom and government Indonesia same no.
Well, okay. I seem to not get you. What language are you speaking? French.
Yes, I understand language Kenya. But you understand I speak in English?
Yes. The audience predominantly understands English and Swahili.
Okay, thank you. I say now speaking about freedom with Papua.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Okay, so what's your take on our conversation on our show tonight? Daniel?
Hello. Yeah,
Yes,
hello.
yes, I can still hear you.
Yes. Video from this question Parliament Kenya. How are you in program and by follow me West Papua.
Where you are from? Papua.
Yes. Thank you, my friends. Next, I understand. I understand. Speaking
Okay.
next. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
Daniel.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to my show. But it's it's a it, it's a conversation about Kenyan politics. But thank you. Well, there seems to be a language barrier there. It seems to have stumbled on a random link on the internet and decided to join the show probably, but you can't understand neither what you're talking about nor English. Still inviting you into the show. If you guys don't show up, then I might have to just have a monologue by myself for as long as I can. Then I can wrap it up and call it a night. So I'm inviting you into the show. Once more, I've sent out the link. Alex Bundi tells me I should know people. Well, he's I think he's speaking French. Says he's from West Papua, wherever that is. Anyway, welcome to the show. I'm still sending out the link there and inviting you. Alex Bundi, link ndio hiyo hapo bana. Join me kwa studio. Uniambie impeachment, what is really happening? Ni diversion ama kuna mtu anatakosa kazi? You always have a very clear mind when it comes to matters politics. Join me in the studio and tell me what you think about that and where this Adani thing is going. Mato is saying that that was the original plan, to come up with a shoddy deal. Then of course people will make noise, then it will be called off, then people will benefit from the spoils, because when you cancel a contract with someone, then there's usually that law that you have to pay them. That's the analysis according to Kenya Kwanza. I can't say if that's the case, but he says he has seen documents purporting to that. But he says that he'll be back to tell us more about those allegations. Be expecting him. But you guys need to come into the studio and so that we can have this conversation as we wait for more people to come in. I know at times watu wa Sound Candid bado. It's still quite early. It's 12:07 here. But as I wait for you guys to join me in the show, I can play another clip. They're still on the same issue. But keep inviting your friends, keep inviting people to come kwa studio, so that we can have this debate. But let's take a look at this. To one more clip. See if mtakuwa mmenijoin studio. Because if you guys don't join me, then I'll have to wrap it up and call it a night. Although we still have our stories that have made headlines today. But let's take a look at this clip. It's still part of what of the JKIA Adani deal.
And what kills me is that people think that we are fighting the airport. No. Please build an airport as big as Nairobi if you want. What we are saying, do it properly.
Okay.
We are having a country that is becoming dysfunctional. Everything is about a deal. I mean, tell me, Ayub, how can Kenyans not be worried that one company is taking over your airports, is taking over your airstrips, it's intending to take over the port of Mombasa, it's taken over Ketraco, it's taking over KenGen, it is taking over Geothermal Development Corporation, it's taking over Turkana Wind, and most probably Kenya Oil and Minerals. How can that not be state capture? Why are we comfortable about it? And people are busy. I mean, I saw my brother, John Mbadi, struggling with that answer. What we are saying, don't give us much English. This thing was, are you building an airport that is affordable according to our capacity? Yes. Are you going to achieve the agenda of your number of passengers you are going to bring in? Yes. Are you going to have a rate of return, investment rate of return in the period of time that you're talking about? Some of us were saying 30 years are too many. Let us look at what Rwanda has done. Let's look at Ethiopia. What have they done? Why is Rwanda and Ethiopia not having any noise or having any questions being asked? I mean, is it okay? Yes, Honorable Nyamita, I completely agree with you that the expressway is one of the best ideas that Kenya has ever come up with. In fact, my argument is, because I've traveled and you have traveled, all of you, we can have a ring around Nairobi, which will completely decongest the city. But that expressway, when it originally started, what was Uhuru's deal? 27 billion. That is what we are going to do. People said, really? Yeah. Oh, from here, maybe a little bit. Yeah?
Started at 8.
It started at 8B. Then it moved to 22B. Then it moved to 28B. Then it moved 43B. We finished doing that thing at 74B. What the heck is wrong with us?
The cash cow element.
Is that normal? Okay. I mean, is that a normal way that a government runs its business?
All right.
I mean,
government. Thank you.
Well, I have PGR now in studio. PGR, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, how are you?
I am good. How have you been?
All right, thanks for asking. How about you?
Also good. I've been good.
Mm-hmm.
We thank God.
How's Bernard doing? We haven't seen him for donkeys now.
Bernard has been feeling unwell.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been quite unwell, but he's under treatment right now, and he's getting better.
I hope that's the case, kwa sababu unajua Kenya yetu mtu akienda against the grain, the government will come after you. Kwa sababu nimekuwa na wasiwasi vile sijamuona na hiyo Kenya yetu, when you speak up the truth, people will be after you regardless of what you're saying. So at this channel here, we kind of open to say whatever we want to say. So na hope ni ugonjwa yenye daktari anaweza kutibu na paracetamol kuliko ugonjwa yenye government of Kenya they're trying to do. You know?
Yes, ingekuwa ni mambo hiyo ingine, I wouldn't be here either.
Kweli hata siku amekumbuka hiyo. That's true.
Yeah, they would have swept the whole thing. But
probably they're after you. Probably they might be coming after you tomorrow. You never know, do you? Hopefully not. Yeah.
Not yet, but you never know, really.
Yeah, that's our country. Anyway, back to our chat, right? Mimi nataka kusema kitu kimoja na nasitiza kabisa. I am talking there is a lot of passion. Wakenya, the government, can you hear me? If you can't hear me at some point, just let me know, please. Right.
No.
What I'm saying is, Kenya, we need to understand how the political group works. They like to divide. When they divide people, they conquer. Saizi mountain people, they're being divided. Now, what if people are buying that narrative? In all political agenda, ati wana divide ati group ikona hapa. That's what they're doing because tulikuwa pamoja at some point. Now, ukiona hata kwa comment section, the division is real and the politician, they're winning with a mile. Ndio manake Ruto, he's back again, tangering. Alikuwa Hawaii juzi, sijui sasa yako New York, akitoka hapo probably atenda somewhere else, kwa sababu sasa najua hatuna imani sisi wenyewe we can fight each other. Kuna huyu ndi alisema kuna siku moja, he said something about what Ruto promises that he made, alafu akaambia Wakenya, akauliza Wakenya, kama mnaamini huyo, you're the one who was stupid. Why do we Kenyans believe what the politicians say? Come on now. Tumeacha Mungu tuamini what God tells us. We absolutely worship politicians. Whatever they do, we trust them. I don't trust any politician. Hata maneno ya story ya Gachagua, sijui na Ruto, sijui impeachment. I'm sorry to say what as Ben 10 always say, ni stories za jaba. I think it's just stories za jaba. Kufunga wa Kenya macho to focus on other things while Adani is the taking over the country. Kwa sababu say biggest conversation now is impeachment. Lakini Adani huku kuna deals zinafaa zisainiwe. KICC iko on its knees, whatever it's happening. We don't know what is happening. A judge came up to mention about the KICC apparently is against the law. Kuprivatize mimi sijui politics in deep. Hii kidogo najuaga kitu, najua kitu kimoja, najua I don't trust any politician kwa hii nchi inaitwa Kenya. Period. I don't trust none of them. They absolutely talk gibberish. Whatever comes out of their mouth is out of their own selfish interest, out of their own selfish gain. They don't care about anybody. Na wote ni waongo ya kupindukia. You can never trust what any politician say. Ruto atasema 1 minute, oh, sitaki government ya nusu mkate. I will never shake anybody's hand. Raila ni mchawi. Nini, blah, 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 blah. Few months down the line, they're shaking hands, your buddies. Don't trust any politician what they tell you guys. Hassan Joho alisema mimi nikiongea na how do you call him, that president, mimi nitakuwa mjinga, na wheelbarrow nilikuwa nayo nikiwa mdogo, blah blah blah. Saizi wanashikiana hand their friends. John Mbadi the same. Hali ya mkeka, hali ya gunia. Hao watu ni the same and they are doing their level best to divide you guys. Tumesahau Mungu na Kenya tutakuwa kupunish kwa sababu we forget to worship God. We're worshiping human being. Ndio maanake kuna ukame itaua watu wengi wa Kenya. Ndio maanake kuna vituko zinafanyikaga Kenya. Ukiona news, ukiswitch on news ya 7 o'clock kwa Citizen, unafaa ukae na popcorns kwa kiti ni kambe unaona horror film kwa Odeon Cinema. It's absolute disgrace. Vituko zinafanyikaga Kenya. Mungu alituachaga kitambo. Na please my brothers and sisters, let's not call the name of God kuambia Mungu sio amefanya sio amesaidia nini. God have turned his back on Kenya. We are evil. Wakenya ni waongo kuanzia watoto wadogo. We don't know how to tell the truth. Mimi nilikuwa muongo wa kupindukia. Mimi niliokoka nilikuja kurealize what a liar I was. Nilikuwa na baada nishaokoka nilikuwa nafikiriaga saa zingine atakudanganya kitu fulani when it comes to work. And my guilty conscience will come to me and question me. Come on now, you want to tell pokies. You can't do that, you're saved. Sisi wa Kenya ni waongo wa kupindukia. We need to start within our own self. How can we trust somebody else to tell us the truth when we ourselves, we are liars? We are liars, and the politician we choose are liars. The leaders we choose they lie. Tuko kwa hongo kitu kidogo kila mara. Alafu hapa tuna expect wenye tuna choose they do better when we ourselves we lack some self integrity. We lack some self morals. Ndio manake Kenya inauzwa. Wachache mimi hapo kama anasema politician I trust. Anaitwaje? Huyu kutoka Kisii, senator kutoka Kisii anaitwaje? Douglas, nisaidie.
Richard Onyonka.
Exactly, there you go. Well done, you. Richard Onyonka, probably that is the only guy at the moment. I think he tells a little bit of truth. A little bit, to me, a little bit. Because all the years, where has he been? This has been going on. His dad was a politician. He is a politician. He's been there for donkeys. Why is he now? Only last year, he started telling us the truth. Where has he been? I don't trust neither of them. Tunasikia sasa Kasmuel Makure amejoin the other side. Alikuwa na Silvano Sosoro. Wamepigwa picha wanacheka mpaka menu ya Christmas ile nyuma kabisa, back of the mouth unaweza kuiona. Those are the people he was saying is against. I don't trust what's come out of the mouth of Kenyan man. Si hata Kenya binadamu yoyote. Hata niambie hata sky ni blue, lazima nitoke nje niangalie kweli nikufahamishe the sky is blue. I don't trust Kenyans. We tell pokies, period. Wacha niachie Alex Bundi, naona ameingia. Asante Douglas kwa muda wako. I'll stay put. Probably I'll have another opportunity to chime in.
Yes, thank you, PGR, for your opening remarks there. Just stay put. We can continue having the conversation, but now I have Alex Bundi. Vipi bana?
Poa, how are you?
Good. How have you been?
I've been fine.
Um,
I'm still at work, but I said also in the studio. Let me come in kidogo as we wait some of our friends to get in. I know they are going to come anyway eventually. A nice topic. Nice topic. I'll be mixing both of them. I will have my submission by mixing both of them. You know, there's no shame in politics. In politics, for me, to continue to enjoy politics, I must know that there's no friendship in politics, there's interest. And I no longer look at friendship, I look at interests. That's what makes me survive the political arena in Kenya, to be able to wake up and read the news. I look at my interests, I look at the interests of the nation, but I also look at the interests of the political players, the stakeholders. And much of politics is about prophecy. You know, today, when our interests are different, we prophesize what will be when we will change our own interest. About 2 years ago, Mbadi was very clear that Ruto is very crafty and very intelligent at choosing his skunks. And let me turn off the camera kidogo. So he said, there's nothing we can do but leave Ruto's skunk to himself. Little did he know he was prophesying that one day he's going to be a skunk. And a political skunk is a person that is used for expediency. They have no knowledge of what they are saying. They stand on no principle, and neither do they know whatever they are, agitating or defending. Where did it originate from? It's barely 2 months since the guy was sworn in to be the Minister for Finance, the exchequer for Kenya, and probably it's not even a 360 turnaround. It's like a 720 or more than 1080 turnaround for him. And now the very skunk that it was critical to is defending it with no objective and with no substance. And, it's one of the philosophers who say when your ideas are depleted, you either start swimming with pleasure or foolishness, which actually he was doing. You could see his emotional equity really being tested. And you could understand that Mbadi is a man who was after a position, not the goodwill of the country. And therefore, the other thing I noticed in that interaction, the only person seemed to be a little bit more up to maybe 90%, honest about the issue of Adani seems to be the man, Onyonka. But Sifuna and Sheregai, yes, of course, they did what they ought to do. But still, when you look at them or you look at their positions and you look at their history, I think their interest will still remain to be one, to be a supporter of Ruto, another one to grow through the ranks of ODM. And therefore, what they are doing is lip service. But Onyonka is a man on a mission because he was the originator of all these scandals partaking. and therefore he owns it, and he wants at the end of the day that it should be prosecuted until the end. And I guess you don't need a multitude of people, but you need one man that is so passionate about something to eventually stop something. And I think single-handedly from the very beginning, when he started by saying, these are the papers I've received from Amenya, a young man before the name came out, you could see a man who from the word go was very serious about the whole issue. And when he's prosecuting the thing to Kenyans, not to this man Mbadi, what he's saying, where are our workers going? Why can't we build a new airport? He's giving alternatives. He's not saying that we are against the airport, but he's saying this is a skunk. This is, and then he comes again with substance, reminding us of how the ring that surrounds Nairobi was supposed to be 8 billion. It went to 12 billion. It went to 22 billion. Then all of a sudden 28, and last it finished somewhere between 72 billion. But results show that it was over 200 billion that actually was paid. So Onyonka has a point, and I think we should not be diverted by other senators who are taking advantage or want to be aligned to the interests of the people. Ultimately, the Adani deal, I think, is going to be stopped. Ultimately, because I think it's very unpopular. Not only that, I think the Adani themselves, I think they're coming out to a preference, like they are involved in the state capture. That is what we see, because according to the papers, which Mbadi was really ignoring and refusing to answer the question, was there were 3 people who bidded for that. But Mbadi is avoiding that question totally, okay? Because the results of these 2 people and the deal they gave Kenya was so good. And they don't want us to even discuss the 2, because then we will ask what deal with the 2 give us. One of them is an American company, I think, and another one was, I don't know, whichever they are, the 2 of them, they're still involved with China, I think. So
Yeah,
the thing is, go on.
Okay, can I interject you just for a moment? Oh,
sure.
Yeah, we have an Abu Dhabi company, Terminal Holdings. Then we have China Roads and Bridge Corporations that has built several roads, including SGR. And we have Motor Angel Africa, a corporation, an American company. Yeah, those are the companies that had bidded.
Yeah, and I think the other day you saw Ruto rush to China, okay? And the reason he did that was to, in case this did not happen, what will he do? Now, he had to use Raila Amolo Odinga to go there to make another deal that will be accepted across, because he needs that political stamina. And I think the deal now from the other side is Gachagua must go. And the reason they're saying Gachagua must go is I think it's a political retribution too. ODM has not forgotten a lot of things, which actually we cannot put into talking right now. So these things are going concurrent, and we are going to see a political shift, a paradigm shift that we have not seen. I told Madam Julia here that Ikiti ya kusema there's nowhere Gachagua is going, to hit him on the head, to hit her on the head one day, because Ruto is not somebody who misses his words. You know, when Ruto said, ukitaka uongozi, I think many people forget that statement. And the more I listen to that statement right now, it has more clarity than even when we were debating it before the election. Why? Because before the election, it was an idea that we had of what he could do. But the last 2 years, what he has been able to do in terms of wealth distribution, in terms of leveraging and making sure that the so-called, the people that controlled the old money in Kenya, that shifts completely. I think he has done a great job. It has gotten from the hands that used to be, he has silenced the people that used to be, shakers and movers. And you can imagine how much now is intimidating leaders that could not be intimidated from the Mount Kenya region. So when I saw Sholei, Bo Sholei, a person who personally took the Electoral Commission of Kenya, turned it to the current institution for election, okay? Because remember, she used to be in the old one. Then she single-handedly, and she was part of the blueprints and everything, including electronics, from bootstrap to eventual testing. Sholei was one woman who knows how the Electoral Commission works. And that is why it was difficult for us to understand the gadget that she was having during the bombers days and until today. So when you heard Bo Sholei say that I personally will be there, Sudi has said it. That's not enough. You've seen even the Star say there are, for the first time, the BBI had the largest amount of numbers, which was 235. And then in the Senate, you know how it sailed through. But when they look at the history of anything in both the lower house and the upper house, it looks like this is the first time, apart from BBI, they have bigger numbers than before. They are cocksure. Now, I thought at some point they were scaring Gachagua. But now, Gachagua now showed the fear. When Gachagua came to tell his kinsmen that we were stupid, I don't know if you heard that statement. I really listened to that clip like 10 times. Oh, we were stupid. I went so hard on him. This is not what kinsmen do. Okay? We should never have done that. I'm the one who facilitated. I said sorry, and I say sorry again. We should never have done what we did to Northland. Okay? You can see a very remorseful, scared man. Okay? But who has been left. And if you can look at even the budget, the way it was slashed, because they said the budget of the DP was slashed actually from almost some billions to almost 800 million. You remember that? By saying also the office of the prime minister, itatolewa hiyo pesa and so on and so forth, and also the office of the president. But the biggest cut came from where? Was office of the deputy president. And then you have seen Sudi prosecuting his case and said within a few days, the man has bought 5 hotels. I mean, they are doing everything in their possibility, everything they are allowed him to do, and he sailed through. They will come after him. Now, they might not in per se impeach him completely, but they will be able to silence him completely. He will be a dog that barks without any teeth. And that is what they want to do. And I'm 100% sure that they are going to succeed in that. Now, let me look at it from a political angle now, that if I was from the mountain, what should I do? You know, there's a wise man who used to come here in this platform. You know, we've changed names over, but we are the same. We are the same monkeys, the different forests. So when we were still in Ukembe, there's a wise man who told us that, you know, Kalonzo can never win any seat, including MCA, if he stands up. But as of now, he told us why Kalonzo must be the big deal breaker for the canvas. He told me, he gave me this illustration. He told me, Alex, if you have only one bull and you have many cows, and this bull is old and really it's a liability somehow, do you castrate it or do you slaughter it or do you give it a chance to see if it can mate and maybe there can be a possibility of posterity? I told him I can't castrate it because then I think my whole generation is gone. I will do everything possible to make sure that at least hata kama itanipea kilema, from there I can deal with it. Okay? And indeed, he told me that the reason why even the Kamba leaders are behind Kalonzo, if Kalonzo goes, I think the Kambas will become orphans. And therefore, this time around, they allow him, not because he's loved, not because he's good, not because he can win, because he's only glue at that particular time, because it was an electioneering period. Whether you like Gachagua or not, I'm talking to the people of the mountain. You have been put in a very difficult position between the hard rock and the hard place. Whether Gachagua is good or bad, politically, this is the only bull now you have. And if you castrate it, Ruto will have sailed through. Remember what Mutahi Nguyi said a few days ago in his X space, that Gachagua, you did not give Ruto the votes that he acquired from the mountain. You allowed him, he came in, he took the votes. You are not the one who voted for him, or your support was not preeminent, which was true. So if you think from that point of view, Gachagua is so desperate that they are going to be left leaderless. Now he's saying our kingpin is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. But how viable is that? How viable is that? Uhuru had warned them during Sagana that you cannot start inheriting your father's property when he is alive because you weaken a home. They have weakened their home. So I think there's a lot of thinking that must go on in the mountain for their political survival, because Ruto is on a mission. Ukitaka uongozi, this is what you do. Ukishapata uongozi, then you deal with them. Now, on finishing, an enemy of your enemy is your friend. An enemy of your enemy is your friend. Until you finish with your enemy, then you start dealing with that enemy. Raila and Gachagua and Ruto, they both had one enemy. Who was what? Raila Amolo Odinga. That's what brought them together. Until Ruto has been able to deal with Raila and Peleka AU, now Ruto is coming back to remember also Gachagua is an enemy. But he has levelized Raila. So what is he doing? Now he's dealing now with the immediate problem that he have. In the book, Art of War, when you go to the war with the generals, when you win the war, you don't kill the enemy. You use the enemy as the leverage, but you must kill all the commanders that you went through with, because they are the ones who will give you problems. Raila failed to do that during the Pentagon, during the CORD, during the NASA, and during right now Azimio. But Ruto knows how to do it effectively. And that is why I'm saying that Ruto is not a good person in heart, but is a good politician. If I have to be a politician to survive, I will be like Ruto. Take it to the bank. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex Bundi, for that comprehensive analysis of the politics surrounding everything that we are seeing today. And yes, conversation today is just about it's about a clarity, because there's a lot of clutter that is being thrown our way, a lot of political clutter to prevent, it's all a smoke screen. I always say that when I'm looking at politics, I don't pay much attention to whatever games they are playing out for you. You take a step back and sort of try to see what is really not being, what are we not really being told. But I have an new. I have Captain Kip, who's just joined me in the studio. Captain Kip, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I just found you in the middle of the conversation, and I joined when Alex was making the final noise before he left. So I did not even get exactly what he was talking about, but he quoted something from a certain book, and maybe as we continue, I might catch up on exactly what you are discussing.
Maybe I can just do. Okay, I'd played some clips for those who are with us here, but since you say you were not there, maybe I can just do a quick recap because okay, the story that has been unfolding. Our main conversation today was around the JKIA Adani deal. That today Parliament directed that it be halted. It has not been signed yet, but yesterday Mbadi was in Senate and he couldn't defend. And Richard Onyonka came up with some new evidence claiming since this deal came to our attention, we were told that that Adani were given the deal because they were the only ones who submitted, or at least that is what we know. But yesterday, Onyonka came with some new evidence claiming that there were actually 3 other companies that bid to take over JKIA, and that sort of ripped the whole thing apart. And today, a parliament committee directed that it be halted, and the Auditor General is going to do an audit of the entire thing, see if it stands. So we're just having a conversation and around that. So if you've been following, I know every Kenyan has caught wind of it, even if you don't pay much attention to politics. So what's your take?
Okay, I have some little knowledge on what's happening about Adani. We are the people whom we have raised the flag, or we have raised the alarm that why Adani? And if this thing was be done a bidding, because even from the first place, we were not told that there were other companies. I am getting it from you now that there were other companies that they did some bidding, and they only chose Adani to be maybe
We
qualified.
only knew yesterday, and Mbadi could not justify the claims that he had, and he sort of chose to be. You know how when you're caught in a lie,
The word was there, but they didn't think that Onyonka had the evidence, the substantive evidence that he could produce in the Senate. Remember, Onyonka said that before, and they said those are allegations. But what they were shocked with, that he had the concrete evidence backed up with signatures and everything. That shocked Mbadi.
Yes, I've managed to have seen those clips of Onyonka claiming of there was some exchange even of money with when Murkomen was the minister handling that docket of like JKIA or whatever transport. And for now that he also has another evidence that there was some bidding with 3 other companies, and the only Adani was the chosen one. That one gives a very clear question that this Adani thing is questionable, and also that why are they forcing us to be Adani? Why not the other companies that we have talked about to come in? Why Adani? Those are the questions that remains in our minds unanswered, and we demand answers. And we thank the government, the parliament, that you have said that they have halted the deal. which we are fine, and we even don't want that alteration. We just want everything to be removed. We don't want that Adani thing to continue. It's better we have a different thing. Kenyans, they can manage. It's better even Kenyan. If it is a Adani thing, let Kenyans to come and bid. Kama ni kuiba, waibe wenyewe, waibe ingie Kenya. Wasiibe iende India. Waibe iende Kenya, wa Kenya wakule. Wenye watakula kwa hiyo mwenye atapewa ni sawa. Watakuwa wamekula share yao. Wenye hawatapata kuna siku yao. But kuiba tena iende Asian countries, we don't want that thing. We really don't want. Hatutaki hiyo mambo hiyo. Hatutaki hiyo mambo. They just start a fresh bidding. Wewe Douglas fungue kampuni, mimi nifungue kampuni, BGR afungue kampuni yake, Alex hivyo hivyo na wale wengine. And then we submit our documents that we can manage the airport. And this is my price for the whole 30 years that they have given us. Or you give your own price, I give my own, kila mtu atoe price yake. Mwenye atapewa hiyo deal, it's okay. As long as ni Kenyan, we don't care about that. But something else outside the Kenyan, I think we will divide that country into pieces, but not peace. Pieces. That is what I got.
Okay, thank you, Captain Kip, for your introductory statement. But PGR had dropped off, but she's back. PGR.
Yes.
Okay, so what normally happens, if you have the correct information, what normally happens when a government has such a huge project? Do we have Parliament vetting people who've bid, or do we have just a couple of people choosing by themselves who should have such a huge contract? What's the right way to go?
Is that my question?
Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness, my knowledge is not very good when it comes to things with politics at all. But for me, my only opinion, I wouldn't say the knowledge because I haven't got any, but my opinion would be, wacha citizen participation will take care of that. Kwa sababu wananchi ndio wanalipa ushuru. I don't know why they shouldn't wasipatie wa raia. Sisi kama raia ndio tu choose hiyo. Lakini sasa unajua imekuwa ni kama ambaye the few people who are ruling the government of Kenya wamechukulia sasa kila kitu ni kwa privatization na kila kitu. Alex Bundi amesema kitu kimoja hapa akisema Ruto is absolutely a rubbish, na paraphrase, is a rubbish leader but a fantastic politician. Huyo mtu ni politician, huyo mtu ni businessman. Alisema alikuwa ameanza kuuza kuku na mayai, which I don't believe that. Kuna watu najua wanauzaga kuku lakini hawajai kuwa billionaire out of that. I'm not buying that rubbish. Kwa hivyo anataka kuwa businessman, akuja auze kila kitu, auze airport, auze KICC, auze Kenya Power and Lighting, auze zote, hata nyinyi wenyewe mtauzwa. Probably at our prices, kuna prices on our head. We don't know. I don't trust that guy as far as I comes throwing. Absolutely siamini ujamaa. Now, talking of a deal, kuna huyu ndi nimeona clip ingine na circulate kwa social media kuwa bibi yake amepatiwa contract ya she just started a new business which is only 3 months old, right? She's been given a government contract, sijui kusupply nini, sijui hiyo, lakini amepatiwa contract worth 104 billion Kenya shillings. Kwani anauza nini? Anauza roho za watu nini? What are they doing? Kwa hivyo kama unaweza kupatia mtu contract ya one individual 1.4 billion, alafu hapa tunaambiwa airport hatuwezi afford kujenga. Come on, tumechukuliwa mafala man. Kenyans, my fellow Kenyans, please, let's all wake up. Let's not stop fighting each other. We have a common denominator to fight. We need to fight the politicians off our money. Pesa zimekuwa borrowed from left, right, and center. a lot. Juzi kuna pesa imetoka China. Nani ameona hiyo pesa? Sasa lecturers wana claim they haven't been paid. Some of them they haven't paid. Jana nimesikia Innocent akisema some of them they haven't been paid up to 7M. Hii pesa 40 billion imetoka China iko wapi? Pesa inaenda kukopeshwa huku na huku na huku. Hatujaona chochote kimeendelea Kenya. Ruto anatoka Eldoret. Eldoret mimi naijua. Iko vile vile just a rubbish, njia ni moja ati sisi ni city. Come on, tunachezewa mchezo man. Let's wake up. Let's not stop fighting each other. Wacha tupigane na politician. Wasitudanganye, wasitubebe ufala, as the way I hear people say, wasitubebe ufala. Please, let's wake up. Tunaanza sama ni tribalism. Tribalism, they've always used that as far as we can remember. Donkey of years ago. Politicians, they've always used tribalism. Mimi nakumbuka nikisomea Molo, them days, kuna clash ilikuwa between Kikuyus and Mandis. All of a sudden, saizi mimi nasikia wa Kikuyu, 2007, ndio nasema vitu sifai sema, lakini unajua we don't talk about the reality of what's happening. We always put things under the rug. You can never deal with an issue unless you bring it to the light and discuss about. 2007 kulikuwa another crash. All of a sudden Wakikuyu sana vutia Ruto mwenye sitaki kusema mengi kwa sababu lakini all of a sudden sasa mmerukwa tena kwa sababu mnachezewa kama kinanda, zile kinanda kitambo. Politician wanachezea binadamu wa Kenya kama vinanda. Come on guys, wake up. Kuweni na akili zenyu, msikuwe fooled. Just because somebody says the grass is green, it doesn't mean it is green. It could be brown. It could be covered in mist, it could be white. Wacheni kwa nini hao binadamu? It's not what they say. Action speaks louder than words. Mtu atasema hivi lakini tabia yake. Kama Babu Owino atakuja hapo, Babu Owino speaks good words because he's a smart guy. Lakini mimi tabia yake ni mbaya. Huyu kijana tabia yake it's rotten. Anaweza kuongea tabia mbaya. Raila kwa nyuma yake, Raila ni kama grandfather yake. Ataongea vitu mbaya mbele Raila, bibi ya Raila. Mpaka mimi na cringe. I'm not even the audience. I cringe for those people to hear that. What this guy is talking, bedrooms, oh, tabia mbaya. It's cringe what I can't even tamuka what he talks about. And those are the politicians we choose. Silvano Osoro akiamka, aki words is absolutely, there's no leadership quality in people we choose. We need to look within ourselves. Tuko hapa kwa sababu of our choices. Tunarauka 5 a.m. in the morning, wengine wanapigwa picha na githeri kwa mikono yao, wameenda kuvutia these looters, these absolutely thieves. We're dancing with beasts. We're voting beasts. Alafu hapo tunaona kila Sunday wanaenda zao kanisani. Wakienda kanisani wanasimama kwa pulpit. Wanaongea vituko. Hata waongea juu ya Mungu, wanaongea vituko zao. I hate it with a passion. It breaks my heart to the core. My heart literally bleeds. Kuna politician wanachezea watu kwa kanisa mpaka tumekuwa to that state, tunakalapia binadamu kwa pulpit, nyumba ya Mungu. Mtu akisema kitu ati wataenda, what's wrong with us man? We need head examining. Kuna mbuzi ni mbuzi ama ni kondoo wagana ile dudu kubwa kwa kichwa. Probably wa Kenya hiyo dudu yenye iko kwa mbuzi iko kwa kichwa yetu. We can't think for ourselves. We absolutely lost a plot. And I feel sorry for the younger generation. Wajukuu wetu, watoto wetu wanakuja mbele. Kama sasa tuko hapa kwa hii stage tuko, we are really doomed. We are really doomed. What do you think about that, Douglas? Because you're a young generation. Where do you think this country is taking you? Go on, tell us your opinion, please.
Douglas, I think.
Okay, before you come in, let me just answer her question. My opinion as a young person is just the same as all the young people who went to the streets. We think tribalism, sycophancy, those are the things that have ailed this country for long. And, we are not willing to take that mantle into the future. So just like all the other young people who went out to the streets and those who are out who were harassed today by the police. Again, they went to the streets. I believe that we need change. We need to change our society, our politics, how we view the people that we call leaders. And I believe that things need to change, and a lot of things need to be left behind, even if it means jailing some of these people that we've for long praised them and given them all these accolades and branded them, given them all these legacies. What are the legacies that these people have? I've always asked that question. People are always protecting, I don't know whose and whose legacy, but what's that legacy really? If we live in times where we keep on complaining and saying this is not the Kenya we want to live in. So that has always been my question. I'm not sure if I've answered your question well.
You have. Just before you go on, Douglas, quickly. Sorry to cut you short because I think you're still discussing something else. Now then, if you had a choice, kama mtu akikupatia ile magic wand akuambie, Douglas, is your turn now, out of your own fully honest integrity, choose who do you think can be a good leader in Kenya? Nataka kusikia from Gen Z's point of view. Wewe leader wako mwenye anaweza kuwa president nzuri hii nchi ya Kenya, kwa your eyes as a Gen Z, unaona anaweza kuone nani? Tafadhali naomba kusikia.
Well, okay, before I even put a name on it, I think the kind of leader that we want now is one, a man or a woman who has integrity, and wherever, at the point where we are, one is a man or a woman with integrity. That's something that we need not compromise on. Someone who doesn't believe in tribalism, and someone who respects the constitution, someone who is very kind of passionate about it. So for me, I'd say Okia Omtata. Yeah, he embodies those qualities. Okay, so far.
Good choice. Good choice. Good choice. I'm there with you. Lakini mimi nasemaga hapo Kenya, politician mzuri bado hajazaliwa. A really true politician which we all vying, which we all absolutely want, hajazaliwa bado. Probably hata ako kwa tumbo. Lakini probably I'm just being a prophetess of doom. Lambo, mbona usisimame basi? You seem like a fella which you seem hizo quality ume describe vile mimi nimekuwa nimekustudy hapo, your body language na kila kitu. You embedded those things. Mbona usisimame?
Never, honestly, I've never been interested in politics.
Are you talking about it?
Yes, as a journalist, not as a politician. I've never been interested in politics. I think not really. Not really. Maybe being the guys at the back who make things happen, but politics itself, people who get into politics are people who are driven by things like power. Power is usually the most the biggest motivation for getting into politics, and I don't think it's something that sparks me in that aspect.
Yeah, I probably agree with you. Just lastly, before I finish, because I can see Lala macho yake na ndiemure atakuja kwa studio. Hiyo ndio reason wrong tunayo wa Kenya, tunakuwa driven as a politician. If anybody want to vie as a politician, it's all about power, and it should be really, in my own honest opinion, It should be about making a change. Kuona watu wamesota. Me, I come from a very humble beginnings. Kuona watu wamesota, unataka to make life a little bit better than what they had yesterday. Hiyo politicians, hatuna, kila mtu anataka kipawa, na anataka kudrive hizo big cars, anataka kuona blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I rest my case. Thank you for listening. Thanks for saying my questions. Wacha nipasi mtu mwingine pia atupatie maoni yake.
Thank you, PDR, for turning me into a panelist. Lala, welcome to the show. How are you?
Asante Douglas, asante PGR, Captain Kip na wenzetu mko nyuma. Asante. Did you want me to go and say something?
Yeah, karibu kwa show.
Asante sana, asanteni.
We were just talking about this Adani.
Ya nimesikia, lakini nataka tu zungumza kidogo kuhusu swala ambayo mmezungumzia, mmeguzaguza kuhusu who can lead. I think that question is one of the very intriguing one, but very challenging. Who can lead? I think, who is the right person for the moment? And we all agree that Tokio Mtata has been a great guy and stood, outstanding human being out there. But I have a different opinion. I think, as my sister PG has stated, I was a lead ajazaliwa, I'm politician. Lakini niseme hivi, kuna wengi, watu wako wengi sana. Lakini shida ni hivi, the environment about these people are operating is so poisoned to the point where a good man, doesn't matter even if you brought Barack Obama in Kenya, he may not make it, okay? Because the environment is toxic. And so because it is toxic, the first thing that needs to happen is for Kenyans, first of all, to understand the bigger picture, to kind of look at the bigger picture of where we are and who we are as a nation. Because you can't, if we are all thieves and monkeys and all that, because we have lived in that environment, now we are become like the environment, then to me, even if the one is born today, sooner or later, they become something else. I think this is almost like we need awakening. Kama awakening zile evangelists wale walikuja nazo, slave, those people that stop slaves and others. In other words, there's need for a revival of righteousness in this nation. Because where we are is so sickening. In fact, tribalists are much better than our politicians. Oh, no. What I mean by that is that in a tribal setting, they had ideas of morals and immorality. In other words, there's some things you couldn't do within a tribal context. If you're a bad guy, they would kick you out. If you keep on stealing, you know your fate. Kama wewe ni mrogi, utafanya nini? Utawawa, you're banned, okay? Our tribes had it right. And then comes this breed of leaders who have no conscience, no morals, ethicless. It is a place where it's a man eat man kind of environment. And unless we clean that, and the sad thing is that sometimes it may take a lot of distraction before Kenyans come to their conscience and know that we have a country to protect. Right now, Kenya, we have gone so deep to the point where, and some of us who live out of the country, when you come in, it's when actually you learn what's really going on, where you have to pay a bribe, in every step. You may think of it a small way, but it actually impacts almost everything. So even if you bring Omtata will be a good man, but those around him will benefit from the environment they live in. So in other words, it'll be good there, but sooner or later it's going to fail. It's going to fail not because they want to fail, but because the environment will force him to fail. So to me, what we have at this moment is probably the best, which is the Gen Zs, a movement away from the way things have been done, a movement by all of us. We are saying no. It's like a wave. It has to continue, because that way we will create an environment where those good leaders can operate. And there are going to be so many, because if you do something wrong, you're being told. You're going to be told you're doing something wrong. And I say this to Kenya now, and let me repeat myself again and again and again. Where I am, if there's a line, and I said it yesterday, yani umeingia mahali ambapo lazima ungoje, maanake kuna foleni, you will not be allowed to cut the line. It doesn't matter who you are, you got to wait on that line. The only time they'll let you cut if you're very sick, maybe you're dying, then of course they're gonna give you the first chance. If I'm sick now, the ambulance come here for me, okay? All the vehicles stop to make sure there's an opening for me to get to the hospital, okay? In Kenya, we've lost that. A traffic light, even if there's nobody, you wait, you stop and move forward. When we don't have this simple stuff, it doesn't matter what we are discussing here. Things will just go bad. Look at this Adani thing. I had you discussing, Onyonka give those evidence, why they're stopping it in Parliament. That's well and good. But this is a deal that should never have taken place. First of all, the law that allows a discussion to be done exclusively by the executive, and not even by the executive, but by a department to sell an airport without involvement of other, interest parties, without the parliament, without the grassroots, even the very constituency where this thing is located. All these are involved in any civilized nation. It doesn't matter what it is. Everyone has to be engaged. My job as a constituent is to ask my MP about the sale of whatever it is. My MP should know, because he or she represents me as we the people, the honor of that constitution, which chose them to represent us. How can they even make a deal like selling an airport without my representative knowing what's going on? So already that law that allowed that whole process to go on is wrong. In fact, even those MPs should go, because it's under their watch that that law was put in there, where Marcoman and others can sell an airport, make this deal that touches our security without our knowledge. So the question is, what are other things that have gone on? So even before we start dealing with what's going on right now in the debate should be, where did that law come from? Because as far as I'm concerned, I think they were talking about it, that it was it passed through Parliament. In other words, Parliament has been so weak that Ruto gets what he wants, and they can justify the sale of an airport legally unless we step in politically. As the people donate this power, they can do it legally. Okay, so we are talking about even other bidders who are supposed to have been there, and this were done. If the question is, even when those other bidders were being putting their bidding, other people did not know. So it to me, it doesn't matter, because still they can invite privately 2, 3, 4 farms and sell a Kenyan asset and come and tell us that it was legal. So there is a problem here, a big problem here. This is why I'm for the Gen Zs, because they're telling us that this country is on a wrong trajectory. We are discussing things at the tail end, when this should have been done at a very early stage. Why do we need to sell our airport or lease it? What is the implication? That should have been a debate that should have been done, public participation, and all of us agreeing what we are doing, and even us saying no because we don't want it to go that way, because it's never done in a civilized nation. So I don't understand it. To me, those parliamentarians have betrayed us, and they created this environment where Ruto and his team can do it, can sell without us, and we don't even know what has gone on underneath. That will be discovered much, much later. And that's my position in all this Adani deal. Adani is a businessman. It's a businessman. Business people look for deals. It is the Kenyans who should have said no. And we are the one saying yes, and now we start demonizing Adani. Thank God he has some issues that now we can point at. How about if he was a clean man? How about, could we be talking? If he was some guy from Britain or maybe England and others, could we be talking? No. But the thing was illegal. It is wrong. It is immoral. It's not right. Is the public asset going to private entities? And this is what is supposed to help us? A politician who is there for 4 years or really short time and gone, and yet we're going to carry this debt for years to come? These are the factors that need to be discussed. And that's my position. Back to you, Douglas.
Thank you, Lala, for that contribution. I think the issue that Kenyans initially had, because the guy who blew this whole thing out was Nelson Amenya, if I'm getting his name right.
Yeah.
Sometime in July.
It's true. Thank God for people like Amenya. This is discovered outside of the country. Okay? When the people should be helping us, that's even make it more sicker than anything else. Back to you.
Yeah. Thank you. But I think initially Kenyans had no issue with a PPP, it's triple P, right? A private, public-private partnership. The issue was this Adani company.
Douglas, you're correct. There's no problem with that. The question, how is it done? How is it carried out? Alex may help us here. How do we do it? You see, they use names and terms and we talk, we don't have any problem with it, but how it is done is not the way it should be done. Back to you.
Well, Alex, how should it be done?
First of all, I will go how it was done. During the cash-to-cash deal for oil between Kenya and we didn't even know if it was Saudi Arabia or the Emirates. I mean, up to date, we really have not known who we were dealing with, because either it was Aramco, it was the Emirates, so and so, and then it came to be the Abu Dhabi company. And I mean, the real person that we were dealing with in all this has never been known. But But now things are being revealed. A company that is owned by Adanis, which is the Abu Dhabi, which is a subsidiary of another company, which is owned by Americans, and then it is pegged on another company that it's called Emirates sijui ni nini, but the conduit of the money was to go through a company called PLC, and I'm going to connect that. Okay, I mean, the money trail was fully covered, that you cannot understand what was happening. Okay, so during these negotiations, Adani was involved. And that is why now the Adani deal is for the airport is also being pegged on the Kenatco deal, because they started in 2023. I think that was 2022, late 2022, when Ruto was reorganizing the Ministry of Energy or overhauling it, so as you know, the Uhuru company, which was affiliated to the French. What was it called? The one that the French guy was expelled from Kenya. You remember when the gas and the petroleum went very high, and this guy was expelled. Yes. So now, when he was restructuring and overhauling the Ministry of Energy, now that is when they started the negotiation. As they were doing the negotiation for the oil, Adani approached the Ministry of Transportation because Murkomen had gone with Chirchir, because these are the two friends of William Samoei Ruto, private business people with Ruto, confidants, so on and so forth. So, and that is where the EOA, expression of interest, was crafted. So instead of us doing the bidding circulation, because we are the one who is interested, the Adanis did what was called EOP, expression of interest. So they came to us.
Adani.
But that was in private. Yeah, that was in private. So when they came to us, now, you see, and I want you to know what really helped us. When they came to us, everything was done undercover. And by the time it came to Parliament, everything had been finished. The problem was, before it was discussed in Kenyan Parliament, Adani was so greedy, he had done everything right, and he went and registered all these companies, because the mother company is in India, and therefore anything that the subsidiaries for the main Adani company must also be reported to the mother company. So as they were incorporating it to Mumbai Stock Exchange, they found out there were delinquencies of a company that's now called Aviation PLC. And that's where now the buck stops. And the Indian government started having questions about the reputation of Indian investors to the African interest. So they stopped Adani there. By the time Monyonka comes to reveal what Amenya, the Indian government was on the neck of the Adanis. By the way, if you don't know. Because a company that had already been registered, given a tender, it is now the Kenyan Parliament is discussing about the proposal of it. So that was a red flag. So it did not go well with the Indian government. So that is when they stopped what was called open tender process. Okay? Now, they wanted to facade it with an open tender process and blinden us so that all these people who want to bid can do it, but already it's like public participation. We do public participation, but the decision has already been made. But in this case, because it was urgent from the regulation of India, they wanted now to do what is called a fast track process. You can go to Citizen and read that in Citizen Digital. I think the writer chronologically writes how this thing was done. Now, as they were doing that, now they came to understand, oh, these companies are just puppets and conduits. The real company that is going to manage the airport system is the aviation PLC. Up to date, we are claiming that the Adanis are taking over the airport, but Adani is a conduit. Who owns the aviation PLC? William Samoei Ruto. Buck stops there. So you can understand why all these things were done with all this corruption-based mindset, because he knew. Now, the catch is here. The people who are shareholders and who are involved with the aviation PLC, if their names was to come out, it's like P. Diddy today trying to tell us who was involved in his what? White parties. Every celebrity that is black in America fears for his life or fears to be jailed because of one man called P. Diddy. The same thing that was with SPM. So this company called Aviation PLC is the mother of all problems. So you can see people passionately debate it, very few people in parliament, but there are those who cannot even speak because they are shareholders and they know they have a hand in it. Ruto did his mathematics very well, and he knows that a dog that has a bone on its mouth cannot bark. So we are discussing about Adani, but the real person who is in the center of interest is William Samoei Ruto. And now, how is he mischievous enough and conniving? Is even if he changes another bidding company and come up with anything, the buck falls at the company called Aviation PLC, because the Chinese will do everything. The agreement open and they will close the secrecy. They will do the secrecy thing and make sure, like the SGR, there are things that we are not going to report. Same thing that was done with the SGR. So even with Adani's going, we still have a problem with that tender overall. It has to be stopped completely. And it has to be an open tender process whereby we will not have an expression of interest before the bidding starts, because that's what it's supposed to be. So you put out the circulation for bidding. You say there is this kind of work. It is not service industry. It is building an airport from bootstrap. This is the land. Okay, you come up with a budget, with a loan for how many years, and say this is what we are willing, like the way Addis Ababa did and also Kigali did. They came up with what they wanted. But in this case, that's not what was done. So what was done was to take over the airport and do the servicing and upgrading. But the money that will be given out will be for building an airport from bootstrap and creating a new airport. So what ought to be done is this thing has to be stopped completely. And therefore, we start discussing as a country, what kind of airport do we need? How many terminals do we need? Okay? And then the experts will tell us. And then we will look at the feasibility of the whole structure. And then after that, it will be presented to the committees of experts who will eventually take it to the Committee of Transportation, okay? And then from there, the Parliament will discuss it. And from there, then the executive will take it. That is the process. But given the fact that, again, there is this law that Privatization Act, which we need to recall by all necessary means, it's going to become impossible for the members of parliament again, because they are the ones who gave it out and said it is too bureaucratic on ourselves. We end up discussing something for years before even we do what? Implementation. That's how they gave it up. So I think some powers needs to be given back. We don't need to usurp the powers of parliament and the people, because in this case, even if we are fighting, the Law Society of Kenya is fighting for us, but legally, the power of us to fight, we gave it to parliamentarians, but parliamentarians took it from them, and then they gave it to the ministries. And therefore, that is why Mbadi is there as a capacity to make overall decisions, because Mbadi is the one in the Privatization Act chooses the commissioners single-handedly. You can imagine the powers that we should have as being given to one man, and that is legally, he's exercising those powers. So before even we allow any tendering, we need to revisit the Privatization Act. If we don't, we are going to get ourselves back to the same problem. So the process is flawed from the beginning, and therefore gives loopholes for them to do anything, and they can go to court and win. So it's an overhaul of both the law, which is mainly the system that has been created like lobbyists for corruption. This is legal corruption. We legalized corruption by doing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. But okay, just before you turn off your camera, your mic, I saw. What is Adani building? Is it a terminal, or is it an entire? Because the terminal was designed a few years back, and I think a contract was issued. What are they really building?
Are you asking Alan?
Adani deal is service deal. Adani is, first of all, the biggest tender for Adani is the service. The other thing is to make the service to be feasible to them. So the issue of upgrade is because the services they are going to offer are proportional to the upgrade they are going to do. So they start with the service. Their service will dictate the upgrade that they will do. So basically, we are giving them to manage the airport, not to build an airport. And then on top of managing it, then they must own it then, because they said we can't manage it without owning it. So eventually they will own it, and therefore put the 10,000 workers out of work and do whatever they have to do to make sure that they produce the results that they told us they are going to do. But their work is, they never tendered to build an airport. They tendered to give services that are world-class to the existing airport. That's what they did.
The deal, according to what we see, is to manage the airport, okay, for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the deal will be financed by taxpayers, okay? Already, we gave them a concession, supposedly of 1.3 billion kind of concession in public-private partnership, So they have a sweet deal. They don't have to build anything. All they have to do is to manage it and add one or two things. So it's a scam when you think about it. It's managing it. Unless
on paper, on the last paper they had, is say refurbish their first role or their first duty is to refurbish the existing terminal. If you look at the wordings that the court has, refurbish the existing terminal, and eventually they will build a new terminal over time.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So their first work is just to upgrade. Okay. But how many times have we upgraded in the last 10 years our airport. During Uhuru's term peke yake, you remember, those of us who are frequent flyers, remember how many times were we on the runway, tunashukia ndege kwa runway because we don't have a terminal. How many times we did that? I did that like 10 times.
Yes.
Okay. So this refurbishing is the name that we don't want. Okay. And that is why Onyoka is saying we have no problem. If you want the whole of Nairobi and you build the whole airport in Nairobi, we will give it to you. But don't tell us that the existing one is what you want in order to get all this money that you want. That's why I went even further saying this, the highway started with 8 billion, it went to 12, it went to 22, it went to 72, and what was paid, we don't even know. So it's a conduit, it's a cash cow. Eventually, they ended up saying a cash cow. That is the same thing that we are seeing here. So they are calling it a refurbishment. Later on, they will say it's an upgrade because now they've come from the word refurbishment was in court. Now, what was being said in the Senate was the upgrade. Now, the name will, but these are fancy names, but really, it is not to build an airport. And that's why Onyonka is saying, why don't you do what Addis Ababa did? Why don't you do what Kigali did? What did they two do? They left the existing airport and they went to do what? To build brand new airport. And to make it more worse, you know, we are some of the few countries that our Air Force operates from the Kenya Airports Authority. If you don't know, our Air Force operates from Kenya Airports Authority. Now the question is, how is our army going to operate from a privately owned entity? Is it not a contradiction? Eh? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Okay, just wanted to get the right, the correct. Before I bring in Mama Mandamano, I just wanted to read out. I think that article is just a moment. But in the meantime, Mama Mandamano, karibu Kenyan Mandamano.
Thank you, Douglas. Nasalimia P. GR, Lala, Alex. It's like Alex, the name that I used to call you, I have abandoned because it hasn't been having any pleasure. Tumetupanishwa na tumekubali kutupanishwa, tujipiganie. Sisi ni orphans and we can do better. And I believe we are really moving forward and we are doing our best. It's something that really traumatized me every time when I think about that day. But I'm okay. I'm still pushing on. Santeni ndugu zangu kwa kwaona tena na hata wa Kenya pahali papote wako. I know we are all struggling in our minds thinking about our country which we love most. We don't care of those jambazis who don't care about us. In fact, we wish they can perish and get out of our way, simply because we cannot be weeping every morning, every evening. Kila siku tukiamka tunakuta mijadala ya kutudhoofisha roho zetu. Tumeishi vibaya all this time since 2022. Hii mambo yamezidi kiwango na sielewi tunaelekea wapi. Lakini Wakenya wanajitahidi. They know where they are heading. It's only the jambazi don't know where they are heading, because everything that will come which is against us, we will crush it off. And that is what we are doing. We are happy for those people who are really fighting in parliament. I'm very proud of them. Na hiyo maswali wanauliza waendelee kuuliza, wasiachilie. Na anything that is happening that is against mwananchi, it should be taken care of by those lions that we have in parliament. We have lions in that parliament who are really doing a very good job. Unapouliza mtu swali anajaribu kudodge na anakuwa kama dry mouth, hiyo ni kumaanisha hajui ni nini anasema. Ni mambo ameambiwa enda useme hivi, na sasa anajaribu kuremember niliambiwa nifanye nini, na nikifanya makosa niko na punishment ambayo nitapata. Those are the people who you see in the parliament trying to fight to make this Adani look like something very logic to us, very nice to us. Who is Adani? Who is Adani, by the way? We should ask ourselves, he is a foreigner. Are we dead? Don't we have people who can do marvelous job in our country? Don't we have our own way that we can be proud of our country, but we are to be made proud of our country by foreigners? It's hectic and also very demoralizing, especially for those people who love their country. Tunafanywa watu ambao kama hatujui ni nini kinawezekana kufanyika nchi yetu ndio iwe maridadi. And let me tell you guys, this government has limited us to do the best we can do for our country. They have blocked our ways of how we can tackle problems in our country and how we can build our country. Surely, as somebody had suggested that why can't this rogue government suggest that Kenyans come up with a way of buying shares so that we can renovate our own home. We can make our home look beautiful. Why are we made that somebody else can come with paints, colorful paints from outside? We don't have some in our country. Airport ni eneo la entrance ya nchi fulani, ya nchi hii, nchi ile. Na haiwezi kuwa, I try to imagine a foreigner controlling your entrance of your country. What are you not? You'll be mixed with a lot of evil people, terrorists and everything. Kwa sababu, what does he mind? Money. Na hakuna wakati atitue promise ati Adani akiingia hapo atafanya kazi vizuri, hata kubali. We don't want anybody from outside to control our entrance of our country. Na sasa sielewi huyu jambazi ni nini anafikiria. In fact, he has taken us for a ride for a long time. Bila hata kutufikiria sisi tuna akili. Anatufananisha na zombie. Vile hatujiwezi, hatujielewi. My problem is, yeye anajiona ni kiongozi wa nchi. Why do you have to make other things happen because you are kiongozi ambazo it's against the law? It's against the country. It's against the wananchi. Ni nini hii unatafuta hiyo airport itengenezewe nani? Wakenya ama foreigners? Wakenya ni kushindwa wameshindwa ama ni nini? I feel very painful. I have a lot of pain in me when I think about my airport being controlled by a foreigner. Hakuna kitu ingine mnatarajia. Kutoka na kuingia ni mali yetu. Itakuwa inafanywa madhara. Kila kitu yetu itakuwa inaharibiwa. And I'm telling you, this guy is looking money in a different way. Na sijui atapeleka wapi, sijui ataenda nazo wapi. We have seen rich people, when they go, they don't go with anything. But just punishing Kenyans because of your richness, because you want to be rich, because you want to have that name, the most wealth or richest man in the world, and punishing your people, what kind of riches is that? Surely everybody will look at you that you have stolen everything from these poor people for yourself. What is that riches look like? Wakenya, Tusikubali hii JKIA ichukuliwe. Hakuna haja ya mtu yeyote kutoka nje kuja kututengenezea nchi yetu. After 60 years, ni nini hatujaona, ni nini hatujui? Watoto wetu wamesoma, wako na akili za kutengeneza nchi yetu na ikawa imesimama. I wish huyu jambazi ni kutafuta, ametafuta watu wa kujenga akakosa architectural, akakosa hao watu every kind of knowledge ambao wangekuwa wanafanya hiyo kazi ya engineering ya hiyo airport. Na hii mali ambayo anachukua from all corners, he will have to know how he gonna pay it. Kwa sababu there is no public participation in any way. Hakuna public participation ilifanyika ndio Adani awe anaingia hapo. That is why we have got all these crucial questioning in Parliament. And they are not able to answer because they were caught unaware. They have done it under the ground. And that is why they are looking for whistleblowers. Because it was a hidden agenda. Na sasa wanataka kusema hiyo meeting zote zilifanyika. Where is the minutes for those meetings that happened? There is none. The only thing they have done is by themselves. And what I believe, Kenyans, I think this rogue leader has a boardroom whereby people are crafting how this guy is going to get money. Because they are still also paid. Wako na boardroom ambao imekaa hao watu wanaitwa mafia ambao wanajadiliana ni gani ingine sasa tutaenda from here. Hii tumesucceed, tutaenda gani sasa? Hiyo mkubwa, pesa zako zimeingia, zetu tugawie. Bas, wanakaa chini tena, wanatafuta another agenda ya kuibia wa Kenya. All this is a crafted thing by majambazi wengine wameketi huko. Naye anakuwa fed. This is true. This one is stuck. What else can we do? When you hear all these crucial institutions have been taken by foreigners, what do you think, Kenyan? Na hawa watu wameingia pole pole kama vile tu camel huwa anaingiza kichwa kwa nyumba ya mtu alafu anajisukumia, unamuona ameingia kabisa. That is how they have come. The friendship is not going to affect Kenyans. Let them be friends. Let them drink and eat together on one table, but don't touch anything that will affect Kenyans, wherever they are. Kila mtu nimesikia analia. Wale walimchagua, walio hawakumchagua, wote sasa wako kiwango moja. Everybody is crying. And they are very much informed about this Adani thing. I have talked to several people, and it's from one corner to the other, and people are very much aware what is going on. And they are very much aware again about this Gachagua maneno. Na hiyo maneno ya Gachagua, most people are skeptical. They are very much keen to know whether Gachagua is real, the way he is crying, because something may come up, a very bad one, very dangerous. Asiwe ni kujifanya, anajifanya ndio akokote everybody to his back, ndio arudi awapeleke wakiwa chondo moja kwa huyu jambazi. Kenyans, we have to be very, very vigilant this time round. Tusifanywe fala tena. Na nchi yetu ni yetu, si yao. And these are just few people who are just crafting how they can nyonya sisi damu yote tuishe. Ni shida yangu moja ni hii. Ni kujiuliza, Mkenya pahali huko, unafikiria vile ninafikiria? Unasikia vile mimi ninasikia? If people feel, Kenyans feel what I feel, surely we should fight for this country. Hakuna mtu anatakiwa kubadilishiwa maisha yake. Your culture be overtaken by somebody. Na huyo ambaye anafanya muwe overtaken, he don't care. He has eaten, drunk, he's done. Yeye shughuli yake Can you imagine one person shughuli yake ni yawe mtajiri, nyinyi mkufe? We are not used to that. Other countries, maybe they are used to that, but we Kenyans, we are not used to that. We are used to working hard and earning our own money and using it sparingly as much as we can, but being happy with our families wherever we are. Hatutatolewa mashamba yetu ati tupelekwe kwa manyumba hizo wanataka kujenga za matope, sijui za matope ama ni nini, because I don't regard them in any way. Ati watu watolewe mashambani wawekwe kwa manyumba, mlimiwe na foreigners ndio mpewe chakula. I'm mixing this story because it is all bad, very devastating. The story you get from Kenya right now, it's really paining. Kila kitu ni mbaya. Plan zile huyu mtu ako nayo ni mbaya, mbovu ya kutumaliza. And in fact, people are very much aware about the land, about Adani, about health, about everything that affects the Kenyans. They are very much aware. But they are wondering, kwani huyu mtu ako na nguvu hivi ati anazidi tu kuendelea kuwa kwa kiti hata wakati huu na anaendelea kutoa mambo ya kukasirisha kila mtu? Why is he feeling that he has a right of doing what he is doing? I am one Kenyan that really matters a lot. Kama yeye doesn't matter about Kenya, me I do. And I believe my other brethren, brothers and sisters, they do. Kenya yetu ni yetu. Mimi pahali nimenunua shamba niishi hapo milele. Yule mwingine pahali amenunua shamba aishi hapo milele. Sababu huna pahali ingine ya kwenda. Hao watu ambao wanaletwa wanatoka nchi zao wako na pahali ingine ya kwenda. Wewe Mkenya utaenda wapi? Ukitolewa pahali unaishi utaenda wapi? Utaenda kule wametoka hao. Na hawata wakubali mkae mkijua hivyo. The only thing they have is they are very happy to have such a stupid person who don't care about his citizens. The only thing he cares is those foreigners who give him smile and then he feel like he has won the war or he has won the game. We are not going to let him win the game. He's gonna lose and lose completely. Wakenya, tuzidi kusikiza yote ambayo yanatokea na tunatatua, tunayaelewa na tunasema la, hakuna hata kitu kizuri kimetoka kwa huyu mtu ambacho tunaweza keti tuseme yes. Yote ni mbaya 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 na tuseme la, we are not going to accept. Kenya yetu iishi kama vile tumeshaishi all those years. Vile ancestors wetu walipigania iwe vile ati tunaishi, tuzidi kuishi hivyo. Hakuna mtu atatolewa kwa shamba yake. Adani hata chukua hiyo airport ndio afungulie majambazi, ndio atunyonye. Sijawahi kusikia mjinga kama mtu ambaye anaweza patiana nyumba yake ati iwe title yake inaenda kuchukua loan ndio itakuja kujenga, alafu nikishajenga niingie kwa hiyo nyumba niitumie 30 years, alafu kutoka hapo nitakuwa nikipata kiwango fulani ya pesa kwa sababu nimeshajenga hiyo nyumba, na mimi ni mtu wa kutoka nje, si wa kuishi, si wa hiyo nyumba. In fact, even I'll be eating those money back home in my country, not even in Africa or Kenya. What kind of a stupid idea? So Kenyans, we are not stupid. We are enlightened, people educated, with a lot of ideas, with focus, and we are committed to fight for our country. Asante Douglas, I'll be here listening. Asante ni wa Kenya wetu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Kenyan Maandamano Kamili for that contribution. Okay, I still have PGR and Lala, and now I have Pen, but before I bring in Pen to say hi to us, I want to bring us back to the conversation we were having. You know, the one that Kenyan Maandamano has just piled up on. We were talking about the terminal. So there's that article I was trying to find so that to get exactly what the deal was about. And it says Adani said in the deal that it proposed to construct a new passenger terminal, build and refurbish existing terminal buildings to increase the passenger capacity and provide state-of-the-art amenities and facilities within the proposed new and existing terminals. The firm also said it proposed to enhance the airside pavement works, including constructing new taxiways, rapid exit taxiways and aprons, and also undertake other improvements as necessary for modernization of the JKIA. I just wanted to get the correct information. Okay, so but there is also a video I was looking for, but since I found it, I don't know if it will become an issue, but I'll just play it anyway. I'll fix it later. Let's take a look at this.
Project marks yet another landmark project for the country. The construction of the passenger terminal is set to reposition the country as a major air travel hub by increasing JKIA's capacity by an additional 20 billion passengers, making it the single largest passenger terminal on the continent. The terminal will be served by a railway line from the central business district with 50 international check-in counters for travelers and 45 parking spaces for aircraft. Under the project, the government will also be constructing a second runway that will be 5.5 kilometers long, enabling the airport to handle larger aircraft.
The funding for this airport will not have a government guarantee. It will be guaranteed by the balance sheet of KIA.
Infrastructure, as has been said, is the single critical platform that will give us the opportunity to transform the economy and the well-being of our country.
The project, which has stalled over the last 2 years due to disputes revolving around the awarding of the contract to two Chinese firms, Anhui and China International Aero Technology, is now set to be completed by 2017.
There will always be resistance, some of them very unfounded, because there's all the times competing interests, companies which are competing. So when you hear somebody making noise, you know that is making noise on behalf of somebody.
It is the single critical moment for us to come together and build this country in the best interest of all Kenyans.
This is not about politics. This is about the future of this country. This is about the prosperity of all. I am directing that the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure to ensure that all encroachments around our airports and other strategic transport and infrastructure installations are indeed removed.
The project will be jointly funded by the Kenya Airports Authority JKIA and the Exim Bank of China, which will extend a 46.7 billion shilling loan for the construction of the project. For Citizen Live at 9, I'm Henry Gedaiga.
Okay, just wanted to share that. So that was in 2014, during the commissioning of the same terminal that Adani is set to construct. You know, there's that terminal that keeps popping up on our news when they're talking about this Adani deal. So Alex had a lot of information about this. So I wanted him to tell us about that, but anyway, back to you, Pen. Let me first bring in Pen. So when I give you a chance to speak, please be as brief as. Let's do 5 minutes.
Yeah. The jukwaa hizo zote. Habari yako Douglas, habari mama maandamano na everybody that is in a show. Yangu ni kusema kwamba I agree with everything that you guys are speaking about. Even this guy who call himself President Ruto Ulisa, these people say that I'm selling the airport. Am I crazy? The answer is yes, you are crazy. Kwa sababu airport, vile walisema wale wajumbe, the parliamentarians, the senators, they were arguing. Even they said, Onyuka said it very clearly. Let it be a very clear and competitive bid so that we can see who is building for cheaper and better product for all of us Kenyans. Mama Damano, we cannot give up. We will have to fight to the end. Na sasa wengine tunayo jinsia anaitwa Morara Kebaso ambao some of us are really praying that he make it to 2027 because amependwa Kenya mzima. Na some of us are very ashamed that we supported Ruto. Lakini Ruto, Raila na Kenyatta ni wezi. They are thieves. There are people who have lied to us a lot, time and again, and have really retarded the country the way it is. Mzee Kenyatta made a good foundation for us Kenyans to be where we are today. Lakini hao wengine ambao na Kibaki did a very good job. Lakini hao wengine in between have worked very hard to destroy the country of Kenya. Some of us are not in Kenya today, but I've lived outside the country for a long time, not because of our choice, but because that we knew Niwizi. If you go in Kenya and have a very big government job, you have to steal to get to get a good house, to get a good car and everything. So some of us chose not to be in that group. Lakini wengine tulifikiria kwamba if we elect this guy, we saw what he did to us in the 80s. It was terrible. But we thought that he had changed. This guy would never change. And I, as one of the people who really supported him, I will say that he's a thief, just like any one of them, and even number one thief. Ya kwamba, he will never, ever change Kenya. He would only make his pockets fat. And that's what he's doing today. Now, airport, we are very, very, very grateful for a gentleman like Amenya, who have really pointed out the mistakes that we have done. We're proud of the members of parliament, Nyonka, Kina Sifuna. I did not know that I would speak highly of some of these guys. Like, if you see what they are doing today, how they are pointing out the criminality, the board of the KIA is all the people that were nominated by Ruto, and they're the one who are passing this deal with Adani, who is a criminal in his own country, whose money in Europe is really being stashed, is being frozen. So when you go into this kind of way, it is very sad. So yangu ni kusema kwamba Douglas, let us keep forward, let us keep looking forward and hope for the better of Kenya. And always the future will be bright for people who means good and well. Thank you very much, Douglas.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben, for keeping it brief and minding our time. Kenyan with love. Kenyan with love.
Yes, what's up, brother? Can you hear me?
Is this still Kenya Mkora?
PGR, unacheka nini wewe?
Yes, it's an honest question.
PGR, shida yako ni nini? What are you laughing about?
Hata mimi nastaajabu. Ndio kwa najiuliza hivyo.
Hey, Douglas, umeamua kunichomea leo.
Welcome back, Mato.
Mato ni nani? Me, I don't know who Mato.
See why I asked. To be on the safe side.
It's because Mkora na love they can mix.
Oh.
Ai, mami, hata wewe umeingia kwa hiyo sekta. No, me, I'm just happy. There's a comedian nilikuwa nimeweka hapa hivi, a bishop, a certain bishop that was talking something that I really, but maybe I can play it later. Douglas, yes, this is Kenya Mkora and this is Kenyan with Love. The motto is hiyo ndio sijui ni nani. I don't know who you. I just don't have an idea who that is. Pastor Lala, is good to see you. Asante sana. PJ is anakufa huko. Penya Gaka, huyo ndio mkora wa kwanza. And then Kenyan maandamano kamili ananichapa pia. But is it my time to go, or were you just
Yes.
wondering? Were you just wondering who that is, or do I have the floor?
Yes, you have the floor. And okay, I don't know if you've seen the video I just played.
Actually, I didn't, because I remember I told you earlier when you started the show that I was because sometimes I have to transit between work to home and something like that. So no, I haven't followed, but I mean, I kind of heard also
Let's
some
play it
stuff.
again for you people.
If you can, I mean, that's sure. If you want me to comment on it, it's just that I mean, it's up to you. You're the chair.
Okay, let me play it.
Tech marks yet another landmark project for the country. The construction of the passenger terminal is set to reposition the country as a major air travel hub by increasing JKIA's capacity by an additional 20 billion passengers, making it the single largest passenger terminal on the continent. The terminal will be served by a railway line from the central business district with 50 international check-in counters for travelers and 45 parking spaces for aircraft. Under the project, the government will also be constructing a second runway that will be 5.5 kilometers long, enabling the airport to handle larger aircraft.
The funding for this airport will not have a government guarantee. It will be guaranteed by the balance sheet of KIA.
Infrastructure, as has been said, is the single critical platform that will give us the opportunity to transform the economy and the well-being of our country.
The project, which has stalled over the last 2 years due to disputes revolving around the awarding of the contract to two Chinese firms, Anhui and China International Aerotechnology, is now set to be completed by 2017.
There will always be resistance, some of them very unfounded, because there's all the times competing interests, companies which are competing. So when you hear somebody making noise, you know that is making noise on behalf of somebody.
It is the single critical moment for us to come together and build this country in the best interest of all Kenyans.
This is not about politics. This is about the future of this country. This is about the prosperity of all. I am directing that the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure to ensure that all encroachments around our airports and other strategic transport and infrastructure installations are indeed removed.
The project will be jointly funded by the Kenya Airports Authority JKIA and the Exim Bank of China, which will extend a 46.7 billion shilling loan for the construction of the project. For Citizen Live at 9, I'm Henry Gedaiga.
Okay, Kenyan with Love.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Go ahead. Finish up before I say what I want to say.
Oh, I'm just wondering. You know, we already we already spent 4.2 billion on a terminal that we are bringing in Adani to construct, and under Ruto.
Mr.
That
Chair,
was in 2014.
yeah, you know that the worst thing about this whole thing is that these guys, and I'm not gonna say these guys, I'm just gonna name it straight. The Uru, I mean the Ruto kinda caliber people and the wannabe mafias. I'm so tired, and even the people. I was even on a weekend. I mean, last weekend, I was even sitting somewhere with people that we were the same field or whatever people do. You know, I can't say what I do. Whoever know, you know. But let me tell you, first of all, I heard someone say, and someone who is so ill he'll converse on some things. Someone say that JKI has one runway. Did you guys know that JKI doesn't have one runway? There's no one runway in JKIA. That is the reason you can see the wake turbulence does not affect even the Boeing. I mean, we are landing the largest aircraft from Lufthansa. Landing there, and you gonna double decker and everything. You can't do that on a one runway. Every time you look back, unaangalia ingine na run. We have two runways. Tuache ujinga na tuache kudanganyana. Okay, there's two runways. And there's another shorter one that is actually used by the military on their ile kujaribu when they are doing their is kurukaruka. When they are trying to, if they don't want to land in Isili. JKI, no airport can have one runway and become the hub that we are. Now, the problem with our country, we've gotten to a place where that the kina Rutos of the day think everybody is just mshamba. They want to, and I hate talking about this because sometimes I might actually give myself up on what I do in life. They know they can tell you all sorts of Tom and Dick and Harry and make you believe it. Because what do you know as a Kenyan? And that's what he thinks. Nobody knows anything. The same problem, the same thing. We heard the young guys come into this mandamano that they did. And Ruto thought everybody was still the oldies that they don't know anything. And these guys would even go and actually do everything, whether intellectual, whether psychological, whether legal, or even technological. That is where Ruto could not even handle these young kids that came. Because for them, regardless what you do, they can go head and head with you on legal matters. Kama mulisikia siku yake ya nini ya when he came into the X and he was being told he doesn't listen to people, and he was being told some things he couldn't even answer by the things that he's done. Now, the problem is when you have a leader, and not even a leader, somebody that came in as a cartel and as a stupid person comes in and comes in and thinking that he knows everything. Hata akakuja kwa hii show yetu saizi, he can go over Douglas amwambie you don't know anything. Yet Douglas has been running this show for a long time. When you have someone like that, then you're bound to go somewhere that you're going to learn a lesson that you've never learned in your life. And that is what Ruto and the guys are learning. And that is exactly today you can see them fighting and even sometimes ending up in the same side when they go to the to parliament. And they're now, especially now, they're talking about what guys have been talking about, this CDF thing that he brought in to be something, and everything is falling apart. That even the judges right now have gone haywire with them and saying that we have to follow the constitution. You find Ruto is also fighting with even now international world, and he wants to show himself so much to be like a bigger person, but because everything has fallen apart. And that's why even Raila, nobody is listening to him, because let me tell you what has happened. Kenyans are really stood up, and now they're not using just their political mind, they're using actually their mind and everything that needs to be done. And I mean, everything that they know about, Mr. Chair. They're using their constitution. People are now talking about the constitution. People are now talking about why is this? They're questioning things. And thank God to the Gen Z movement. People might think the Gen Z movement is gone. It hasn't gone. It's just that people actually at that time they woke people to where people now are actually talking about the constitution. People are talking about their future. People are talking about if we are talking about Kashagwa and the Mount Kenya, we are now asking just the way the MPs today or earlier yesterday, were talking on the morning show about why you guys talking about Central and Nyanza and talking about Rift Valley, and you're not talking about the other, the other part of the nation, to a point that I think it was Malombe or somebody who had to say, even you guys are not talking about Ukambani and I'm here. So it's coming to a point where people are starting to talk. And what I would really want, Mr. Chair, I would really want that we start now actually looking at our country, not in the basis of where do you come from, or in the basis of what Ruto is talking about, in the basis of Gachagua. We don't care about. In fact, I told you yesterday, I want Gachagua and Ruto to keep on fighting. Because the more they keep on fighting, the more they open up people's eyes, especially when your agenda, I mean, people who don't really look at these things critically. And the reason we have these channels sometimes is because of that, so that we can actually interrogate exactly what is happening with us. So for me, I am one of those persons that would really want us to really slow down and just let these guys fight for whatever they're fighting for, so that we can understand exactly what is it you guys are fighting for. I thought you have half of the government, the other person have half of the government. What is it that you guys are fighting for? Because the moment we get into that and we understand what is it that they are fighting for, then as Kenyans, then we'll start to understand exactly what is happening. And Mr. Chair, I am here, niko hapa for a while, lakini maybe I might have changed the topic kidogo, but I think that is what Kenyans need to talk about. If kuna mahali nimekosea, tafadhali, kama mzee Moi venye alisemanga, mnisame. Lakini kama kuna mahali nimeguza mtu, pia yeye anaweza niambia exactly what they think of what I said. Other than that, I'm going to be quiet unless somebody has a question for me. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Asante sana for giving me this opportunity to have a conversation with Kenyans, and especially not even on social media, but on Sound Candy Talk, where we do have Sound Candy Talk. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Kenyan with love. At this point, before I bring back PGR, who's been quiet for a while, I want us to move on to the next story. So I'm gonna play one more bite, then PGR will just take it away when it ends. So just a moment. Okay.
President William Ruto has experienced an apparent change of heart on the Ford Foundation, having accused the US-based philanthropic organization of sponsoring the anti-government protests led by Gen Z that had the country in a grip in June and July. The president now says the American-based outfit has helped safeguard Kenya's democracy. The president, who is in New York in the United States of America, attending the United Nations General Assembly meeting, praised the American Foundation, noting that it had become the beacon of change globally. Emmanuel Tor reports.
Mimi nataka niulize watu wa Ford Foundation watuambie hiyo pesa wanatoa ifanye fujo ndio wapate faida gani?
This was President William Ruto in Nakuru County in mid-July at the height of the nationwide anti-government protests led by the Gen Zs. Back then, the president had come out guns blazing, putting the Ford Foundation on notice for what he termed as sponsoring violence and anarchy in the country, telling the organization to shape up or ship out.
We are going to call them out and we are going to tell them if they are not interested in democracy in Kenya, if they are going to sponsor violence, if they are going to sponsor anarchy, we are going to call them out and we are going to tell them they either style up or they leave.
The president has experienced a Damascus moment, taking back his words on the Ford Foundation. In a statement posted on his X platform Tuesday, Ruto said, quote, Kenya appreciates the Ford Foundation's commitment to safeguarding our democracy and supporting Kenya's calls for reforms in the global economic institutions, climate action and modern technology regulation. End of quote. The statement coming after he held meetings with the leadership of the foundation, led by the foundation's president Darren Walker in the New York, USA. The president's remarks were also echoed by the Principal Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Korir Sing'oei, who stated that the meeting underscored Kenya's commitment to democratic governance, rule of law, and respect for human rights. The PS concluding by stating that President Ruto thanked the foundation for investing in Kenya's development over the last 60 years and agreed on the need to upgrade the institution's host country agreement and provide a robust framework for realization of mutual objectives. A few days after the president's allegations, the foundation issued a statement denying the accusations, enumerating 400 Kenyan grantees who received funding for the past 18 years, adding that they all had a clean bill of health. Sing'oei had questioned the operations of the foundation, especially for the months of June, alleging that grantees had received a total of 752 million shillings between April 2023 and May 2024, with an unexplained expenditure funding of 194 million shillings within a month.
Wale ambao wanaleta pesa sijui kutoka wapi ati kujaribu kununua fujo, ati vijana wafanye fujo Kenya, hawa wahuni tutawakomesha. Hebu kila mtu tuseme we want peace. Kila mtu.
The president is in the US attending the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Mr. Chair, can I say something real quick, please?
How quick?
Just it won't even take a minute. You see, this is the nonsense that we don't want to hear. This is a guy that was here talking about, you know, the Ford Foundation just the other day. Now he's switched, and this is the Indo Kigeuge Ilo Jinga Tutaki Kenya, by the way. And some of us, people who are educated na watu wenye pia hata kama mtu ako educated, kuna mala yengine mtu haizi kudeal nayo, where you talk one thing, the next day you talk something. Now, let me just clarify something for Kina Kabiru and Ani. When I say one runway, I'm talking about a Boeing runway, but all the taxiways are actually runways. Now, you can fight with me about stories of runway because that is actually my career. I understand what it is, what you guys are trying to say. And maybe you might say, yes, you have one main runway, which is actually can take at least 80 meters. 80 feet of something, of you know, the biggest flight to take off. But there's so many flights that actually take off of Kenya when you have the Cessnas, zinatokangata kwa the taxiways. So when you say one, you need first of all to understand the avionics of whatever we are talking. I just wanted to clarify that for Ani and Esther Kabiru, that no, we don't have one runway. We have a couple of them, and some of them matters in Atokaga on the opposite side. Like the military, when they land there, they can actually take off from a taxiway. Thank you.
Okay, so one runway and taxiways to accompany it. Is that right?
Yes, and you can actually take off from a taxiway. Actually, if it's a taxiway, it just depends with how much you need to get your rotate speed.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, though. So, PGR, the president says that now Ford Foundation has played a big role in our democracy. 2 months ago, it was sabotaging it.
Can I comment now?
Yes.
Okay, okay. All I want to say, it's all my giddy eyes. This man is absolutely delusional. Ndio manake nasema over and over, I don't trust anything comes out of any politician's mouth. I don't trust what comes out of any lawyer. Ni watu siamini ulimwenguni huu ni solicitors, barristers, I'm a lawyer, na politicians. They absolutely, the watu wanaongea very logical. Whatever they speak, it's all calculated, always in their heads, with the benefit of their own interest at heart. They don't speak from heart at all. Na nakubali vile Mkenya with love, Kenyan with love, amesema kitu kuhusu tribalism. This is what it's ailing us as Kenyans. Tunakuwa shaken kidogo, tunaenda back to our little cocoons where we feel secure with somebody who's called our name, with somebody who speaks the same language. Hatuna union, our union only lasts only but a minute. When you're shaken up with the politicians who always play the game of dividing us, because when they divide us, they rule. And then when dividers, they leave us to fight, and then they're doing some other bigger agenda. They've got bigger fish to fry. Wana agenda kuuza nchi yetu na kila kitu, sisi tupigane na manokabila yetu, is absolutely rubbish. And it's been working for them, by the way. They've been doing for donkeys. It's working for them. They know how to rule us. As long as they mention about, kabila, sweet kingpin, what a load of rubbish. I don't understand it, but it works for them. Lakini mimi, they can't fool me, because I don't trust any politicians whatsoever. Sijai vote, I will never vote. Bila nilikwambia mapema as Douglas, mimi politician mzuri mwenye atarule Kenya bado hajazaliwa. Ndio ingawaje nakubali na mtata kidogo, lakini anajua akiendaga kwa hiyo seat, there's something wanakunyishwa. They change their hearts. Wanaongea absolute double speak. Back again kusema vile how politicians, they tell us lies over and over. Nakumbuka before Uhuru atoke kwa kipawa, Ali mentioned about the COVID billionaires. Billionaires was a millionaires. We were told, he said it in public arena, amepatia watu 20 days. If they don't find anybody to be prosecuted, it will be absolutely havoc. It'll cause havoc. Nothing happened up to date. We've never had anything. Na Wakenya sisi tuna memory ya kusahau. We've got memory ikawa tuko na dementia. We are demented. I don't know what it is. Haya, maneno ya Kware, tulikuwa tunasikia watu wameuliwa 42, tukaambiwa sijui mwili zimepatika sijui double digits, sijui ilikuwa ni ngapi imemalizika, au 40 wengine tujaipata. Hiyo story ilienda tu hivyo. Ule kijana mara tunasikia ametolewa polisini ama ametoroka, nobody knows. Story imedhifikia hivyo hivyo na tukanyamaza. Tuna memory ya kukua fooled with these politicians, and then we forget so easy, and they're playing us. Watatuchezea kama vile mtu anaweza kuswing a ring in the finger. Hivyo ndio wanatuchezea game. Juzi nakumbuka kulikuwa na big controversy going on about ati Mogoka. Ati tunataka kuban Mogoka. I was here in the comment saying, hizo ni kama kawaida. Ni watu wa Kenya wanasema they'll do this. They never germinate. Nothing any politician say it takes up a ground. The only thing that is guaranteed a politician of Kenya will follow up with ni kupora pesa za wananchi. That is absolutely guaranteed. Lakini anything else come out of their mouth is absolutely all the way gibberish chats. Alafu pia Lala pia alikuwa amesema kitu kimoja. Lala ukisema Wakenya sisi ni watu hatuna nidhamu, we haven't got any integrity, and it's begin with our own self. When you look in our mirror, what do we see as human being? Tukijiangalia tunaona nani kwa hiyo mirror? Hatuwezi ka choose good leaders when we ourselves we are rotten from within. Wakenya na kitu nimekuja kurealize, tukienda sokoni tunaenda tuna bargain. Unaenda kununua, kwa mfano unaenda kununua nyanya imepikwa kiasi fulani, tutaanza kuchagua zile nzuri na tunataka for better price, for cheapest chips, we want it nearly next to nothing. Alafu tukishawekewa hivyo tunataka tuongezwe. That is wrong. Hata Biblia iko against it. Inasema kuwa yoyote atakuwa nauza, akialter scale yake ndio auze kwa faida, ama aki-adjust scale yake ndio anunue kwa faida, that is a sin kwa mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu. Wakenya we bargain. Mimi nimekuja kurealize hiyo ni sin. Nikienda sokoni vile imepimwa, nikiambiwa sijui nilipa pesa ngapi, nitalipa hivyo hivyo, na kiongezwa nikiambiwa niongezwe, nakataa. Tuna expect tukienda kununua something baada ya tushapimiwa tuongezwe. That is wrong. Vitu vidogo vidogo hizo zina show what kind of characteristic human being we are. Na hapo Kenya, goodness me, tutasuffer kwa sababu watoto wetu tunawalea na hiyo tumekosa nidhamu. Hatuna nidhamu, hatuna staarabu. We absolutely liars, bunch of liars. It's all about me, myself, and I. What it's in for me. Everything is what it's in for me. Kila kitu ukienda pale kununua kitu kipatia mtu pesa, atakudistract abaki na change. Na ukienda kuuliza change, hata story imechange. We are absolutely bunch of liars. Na it's so, tutaongea juu ya politicians, lakini let it start within us kwanza. Tujiangalie ndani kwanza, sisi ni watu aina gani? Leo tumedanganya mauongo ngapi? Leo tumesaidia yako nani? Leo kuna mwanamke alikuwa na mimba ako mbele yetu kwa laini vile Lala amesema kuna nchi zina a lot of integrity. You can't just jump the queue. You cannot jump the queue and get away with it. At your embarrassment, you can't even do that. It's out of respect plus. Respect for others, and respect begins within ourselves. You can never respect others when you haven't got self-respect within you as a human being. That's the way I look at it. Tumekosa nidhamu sisi kama Wakenya. It's all about me, myself, and I. What it's in for me. Na ndio hawa watu tuna vote, wataenda kuuza kila kitu. Sasa tunasikia sijui shift imekuja. Shift nasikia is absolutely even rubbish. Tulidanganywa tu tutakuwa wanalipa up to 300 Kenya shillings. That is absolutely baloney. Nothing like that is going to happen. Kitambo mimi nakumbuka kulikuwa na hospitals. In Nairobi kulikuwa na streets. Zimeitwa after certain people with prominent names. Saizi hatuna hivyo kwa sababu hatuna wale watu kweli wanastii. Watu naweza kusema huyu ni mtu alikuwa with good character. We haven't got that anymore. Hospital are not built anymore. Hakuna yote anaweka jina yake. Kulikuwa na Jomo Kenyatta Airport. Iliitwa out of the first president of Kenya. Kenyatta Avenue. Excuse me. Excuse me. Kuna Kenyatta Avenue iliitwa hivyo. Odinga Street. Hivyo. Lakini saizi we haven't got that because we haven't got those people with integrity. The executive, legislature, and judiciary are all in one. Hata saizi naona ama senator wanaenda question all these people. Hiyo kesi itaenda nowhere kwa sababu judiciary, it's absolutely in the pocket of president. President has them all. Ako nao watu kwa mifuko yao. These people are petrified of this man. Na sasa jaji yetu sasa ndio kabisa. Ule mwanamke hata mimi nashangaa wenye alikuwa anamchuza ule mwanamke. What were they looking for? Tayari akiongea hata aiza kaogopesha hata inaitwaje vigiriri. Uchungulo in other words. The way she talk, she haven't got even authority in her voice. Ndio manake ako compromise all the way. And people will get away with a lot. Because they chose weak people. Mimi kama mwanamke hapa naongea, kuna position yenye we need to give our men that position. Watu wanaongeaga about equal opportunity. Men and women, we are same. Goodness me, mimi sitaki kuwa the same as men and women. No, I want to be a woman. Saa zingine nyoka ikiingia kwa nyumba, nataka kuambia wenzangu, hebu angalia lile nyoka, toa nje. Lakini tukiwa na equal opportunity, tunasema si tuna equal opportunity. Nyoka ndio pia wewe ichukue hiyo whatever, endo kaiwe nyoka. Kuna positions zinafaa, they are meant for men. Ukiona kuna war around the world, first people to evacuate it are usually elderly, women and children. Mshaiona wanaume wanatolewa kwanza? Ever. Because we can never be equal. Akushaona mwanamke hapo Kenya amepanda, kuna power lighting, kuna some things need to be sorted at the at the top of the pole. Mshaona mwanamke amevaa skati yake ameenda kule juu. I'm yet to see that. I've never seen that. Alafu tunasema kuna equal opportunity. I don't want that equal opportunity. Mimi nataka vile Mungu aliumba Adam kwanza akaumba hivi. I want it to stay that way. I want to give my man credit. If they do something, I want to give them credit. If they mess up, I want to say, you know what, you messed up there. Lakini equal opportunity sitaki. Ndio manake judges mkuu wa Kenya inafaa akwe men. Sijui huyu security Soipan tu hiyo position, that position should have been for man. Hands down. Na najua wanawake wenzetu wako hapa kwa comment, they will beg to differ with me. Lakini hapo ndio mimi nasimamia. Mimi hata kazini kwangu naambiaga, no, kuna vitu I can't do. I always tell you know what, you're a man, you can do it. And I stand there cheering them on. Mimi nataka, I'm a very traditional woman. And I want my man to be traditional. I know my place. And my man should know his place. Probably I grew up with brothers who were absolutely spoiled me rotten. I couldn't even fix a bulb, fix up a bulb. But I like it that way because that's the way it should be. Sasa judiciary ndio how, sasa hata mwanamke hana backbone. She hasn't got any backbone. Huyu Ruto amemweka kwa mfuko yake deep in a pocket. We are doomed. We are literally doomed. Nchi yetu tuzo moja kwa moja zenye tutajua ndo kidogo. Kama huyu Onyonka akungeni ule jamaa, that fella who's in France, if that conversation didn't happen, probably this deal would have been done like, yesterday. Would have been talking a different story. Sijui kama na hawa watu wakienda kustaki hata judiciary yetu, our court is so weak. Tunasikiaga kesi imeenda huko. We've never seen any politicians in yesteryears ama days to come. We will never hear any politician have been jailed for stealing. I don't call it corruption. Corruption is a very sophisticated way of calling somebody who's stealing. They're thieves. I've never had any politician. Uyo Waititu saizi, Ferdinand Waititu, namuona anatembea na Kalonzo Musyoka. This man was charged with a lot of money. The evidence was there. What is he doing with Kalonzo Musyoka? You can't mingle. Hakuna kitabu wa Korintho inatuambia bad company corrupts good morals. We utakuwaje mtu msafi alafu na mingo na mtu mwenye jina yake ko tainted already? Alafu how the leaders want to choose? Come on now. You know what? No, it doesn't sit well with me because our eyes are wide shut. We think they're wide open. My man, they're wide shut. And we need to open our eyes like so soon. Tunachezewa magame. Alex Bundi anakuja hapa na statistic, anatupatia statistic mpaka nasikia tumbo inakata in two. It's so sad what is happening in our country. Na hiyo tu ni just on the level surface. Probably kuna zingine zimefanyika hata wenyewe hatuna habari. Kwa sababu media yenyewe hata pia haisemagi hata ukweli. Sasa hawa wachache wanakuja wanaanza kusema ukweli, watasema ukweli for a little while, wataanza kuwa compromised pia. The likes of Boniface Mwangi, I like the chap. We don't hear from him anymore. Mara tunasikia sio amefanya. Kenyans, man, we need to wake up. And that starts with us. Inaanza na sisi wenyewe kama binadamu. Itaanza kwetu sisi. Next time tukiona chief, who are we voting for our chief? Na aki-judge kesi, are they going to be fair? Ama atalipwa, alafu atasway kesi iende on one side because they've been compromised. Tukiangalia MCA, who are we voting? Tuna vote because they speak our language? Do we vote because they've done us a favor? Or do we vote somebody with high morals of integrity, with good characteristic kama binadamu? Mtu mwenye asemi mauongo zake, mtu mwenye alewi ovyo, mtu mwenye hadisrespect bibi yake, mtu mwenye ana only one wife. Tukiangalia kwa MCA, kukuja kwa MP, tukiangalia kwa senator, the governor, who do we choose? And what is our reason for choosing these people we choose? Mimi I don't vote, man. Mimi si vote more. Sijai vote and I will never vote whatsoever. The reason is I don't see anybody good enough mimi kusimama kwa hiyo laini saa 11 asubuhi to vote. Afadhali nisome Biblia yangu bana, nisome kitabu yenye mimi sieleweki kama Deuteronomy. Afadhali niende zangu nisome Deuteronomy mpaka nisinzie haswa, kuliko kwenda kupanga laini kuvotia jangili. No way Jose. Na mimi nashukuru sana kwa kila mtu kwa hii channel, kwa hii panel yetu. Kila mtu anakujaga with their passion. Kenya maandamano akiongea, I can feel your pain. I can feel your pain, madam. Nasikia uchungu wako, I can feel it in your tone. Na yenye unasema, that goes to show how much we love our country. Lala akikuja na yake pia, anatuambia example ya desturi ya watu wengine, nidhamu ya watu wengine vile nayo sisi tuna. Mkenya mkora naye absolutely anakujaga, he makes me laugh. His absolutely analogy is on point because he comes with a fresh eye, fresh set of eyes. Penyaga mimi nimemsikia tu mara moja mara mbili, simjui sana, sitaki kusema maneno ya uongo. Lakini Douglas pia wewe, for a young guy, we absolutely appreciate kwa sababu Bernard kuwa off. Hii tungekuwa hapa leo kama unge take over. Mimi nashukuru kwa kila mtu. Alafu kuna ule Anistra nani? Ule mwanamke anaongeaga na passion, anaitwa nani ule anatoka Buruburu?
Public.
No, mpaka analiaga.
Yeah, public participation.
No, it's not. Ana jina tu Maunga.
Oh, Maunga.
I like the passion of everyone on this channel. I really do. I appreciate how much we love our country, but we're being screwed up because we choose, excuse my language, man. Hapo nimeteleza kidogo. Yeah, we're being lied to because we choose wrong people. I think I'll rest my case for now. Asante kwa nyinyi wote kusikia. I'll still be hanging around for the time being. Thanks, back to you, Professor Santi.
Okay, thank you, PGR, and you've really stretched the time. I highly recommend that you stick to 5 minutes. 5 minutes is good to consolidate your ideas into that. So let's have Pen Nyagaka now. Then after Pen, we can have Lala. Then Kenyan Maandamano. Ben.
Asante sana Douglas na huyu mama ambaye amezungumza saa hii. Thank you very much, and it's good that you have heard of me right now. Hiyo ndio mzuri sana sana, kwa sababu before last year nilikuwa natetea huyu Ruto sana, na wengi kwa hii show walikuwa wananihate sana, lakini siku hizi maandamano ni rafiki yangu, kwa sababu tukizungumza ukweli ni ukweli na ushenzi ni ushenzi. Huyu Ruto has changed Kenya from a democracy that we fought for a long time into a dictatorship, and the characters of our dictatorships are very bad. Hiyo the example hii mtoto anapiwa wa university, watu wengi ukienda huko ushago, you cannot even approach police to be helped. You approach the police, you have to pay something to get help. Ukienda ushago, ukienda kama ni public transport unasimamishwa, na ukisimamishwa hiyo watu hapana makosa ya gari, wanataka pesa tu, rushwa. And we thought that the lady that spoke, when I was supporting this system, I was like, he was talking about the bottom-up economics. Na hiyo bottom-up economics, mheshimiwa, mimi nilienda shule kitambo sana, and that is the kind of economics that we did. Why the Europeans, after they destroyed themselves, how they picked up the East Asian countries, come on, Malaysia, Singapore. How did they, South Korea? How did they come up? Financing their country with the taxation of their own citizens by creating little jobs that could be taxed for that. We thought these guys were going to do that. Hivyo ni kusema ya kwamba some of us did not see that these were all in the same bed. Ruto, Raila, na Kenyatta. I really encourage you, lady, because as passionate as you are reading your Deuteronomy, vote, please vote, because when you don't vote, you let the nut cases vote for other nut cases. Washenzi wanajipigia kura ndio wanatuibia vile sasa wanaiba. So I would really recommend somebody that I've listened to. Now Douglas, wengine wanasema mimi ni travelist, lakini mimi ni Mkisii. Lakini huyu kijana naita Morara Kebaso ameenda anywhere, everywhere. Kisii amekuja kidogo sana, but he's liked everywhere. So let us focus on voting for somebody, because sahi 3 years to the elections 2027, we should have somebody that replaces Ruto, na Raila, na Kenyatta. All these characters have to go home wherever they came from. Na Kenya ikae vile inakaa, and we will, maandamano ile shamba yako umenunua utanikatia kidogo, na tuendelee namna hiyo. Na we come in the open, not the way this airport deal is done. Mwenyewe Dagi nimefanya kwa ama airport for many years, over 30 something years. We developed the airport from a very little airport to a major international airport here in Dallas. Lakini hatukuona, somebody coming with their criminality, their underhandedness, vile nyoka wame tetea. So it is what it is right now, but we will have the future to change. I really try to stay positive, to say that we have to change the country for the better. We cannot change the country for the worse. Vile Ruto amesema. And yes, he asked, is he crazy to sell the country airport? Yes, he's crazy. The guy is a nut case. Maybe it's a mental case. Na sasa wengine hatukuona hiyo. Tuliona hiyo speeches analipa mzuri. Tunafikiria alichange. It is the same guy who was killing us when he was out of University of Nairobi with the Moi. And he has changed the country to Moi style. Na hiyo hatuwezi kukubali. Tunasema tutapigana mpaka dakika ya mwisho. Douglas, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. Who was next? Lala, right? Yeah, Lala. Reverend Lala?
Let somebody go. I need like 2 minutes. I'll be back.
Okay. Maybe we can have a Kenyan Mandamano Kamili. Kenyan Mandamano Kamili. Okay, seems like she's a bit far from her device. Okay, let me play the last bite on my my last bite. Then we can, as we move closer to closing, just a little bit, Lala. I'm going to give you the opportunity to speak, but first I wanted to play my last bite. Okay, you ready, Lala?
Now, there was drama at Harambee House on Tuesday afternoon after police disrupted activists and families of missing Kenyans who had gone to the office of the president to present a list of those killed and still missing during the anti-government protests. Journalists were not spared during the scuffle as officers in plainclothes and wearing masks roughed them up and destroyed their equipment. Despite the drama, activists and affected families were allowed into Harambee House and presented the list to the Principal Administrative Secretary, Arthur Osea.
One of the most guarded offices in the country was on Tuesday turned into a theater of drama. Police officers in plain clothes and covering their faces with masks pounced on activists who had arrived at Harambee House to present a list of 60 Kenyans killed during the protests and 14 Kenyans who are still missing 3 months later.
Okay, that video's has broken, but you've gotten the gist, right, Lala?
Oh yes. Okay, sorry about that. I'm
See
here.
if I can
Okay.
get the complete version. Seems like it has broken.
Okay.
Lala?
Can I go ahead? Okay.
Yes, you can.
First of all, Nyagaka, it's good to hear you, my brother. Kenya with the love, PGR, and of course Kenya Mandamano Kamili and Douglas. I just want to agree with my brother Pen, and that is we must vote, no matter how evil things are. I think it gives us a voice. We are in some of these Western countries because they voted, because they were no perfect people, and there are no perfect people. But your vote is saying that there are moral people in the environment. In fact, it's biblical. Not to vote may not be very biblical. So I think it is important for us to raise our voices, because we are the salt of the earth and we must speak it. And so when you vote, then you have
Sorry, Lala. Sorry,
say,
Lala. Can I just
hold
interrupt
on,
just for
hold
a
on,
minute? Sorry.
hold on.
Lala, just a minute. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to disrespect you. It's not the fact. But I would rather, if there's two evils standing there, sometimes we vote for who's the lesser evil. I'd rather not get in that part whatsoever. Kama kuna mtu ana nidhamu, ana desturi nzuri, I don't mind. Nitamka hata kama saa 7 usiku. Lakini kama kuna two evils, I have to vote for who's the lesser evil. No way, Jose. I'm not taking any part whatsoever. Thank you. Sorry about that. Sorry. Thank you. Go back to your point.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I assume we are talking about election period. So then if that's the position, it's very hard now to vote for anybody, because there are no saints. They are all imperfect people. But a vote is one way to hold people accountable. Because if you don't vote, sometimes it's very hard to come and critique somebody. You didn't have a say in what they are doing or where they are and what it is, to kind of dissociate yourself and say this is what it is. So I think participation is really critical. I think I see your point. That is, these people are not doing things the right way. But the question is, who will be that person? Whether it is some of these young people that are there, but you see, they live in the context where there are all kinds of things. For example, I hear you talk about, I think one of the leaders, I think it's Kalonzo, you stated, is working with this other governor former governor of where of what is that man's name? The one who was the governor?
Ferdinand Waititu.
Waititu, yes.
Ferdinand Waititu
Waititu.
of Kiambu.
The question, there's something that you can't control. If Waititu come to your house, you chase him away or you give him food. Christ, was in hung out with drunks and others, but the idea was for him to minister to them. So I think I understand the point that we are trying to make here. That is, we don't want to be part of them, but the question is, we are still here on earth. So I think let our light shine. I think your heart is coming from the right place. But sometimes we have to dive in there. And the Bible says that a Christian should be at the gate of Hades. We snatch them out. I think it's Paul who talks of snatching them out. But the mistake that the church made, why we have the dark ages in the history of the church decided to go into caves, and they were hiding from people. That's when the dark age came about, and when those persecution of Christians, because the church disappeared, because they felt like the world is so evil that they could be part of it. So, but it's a big question, really, because to your point, how do we, what is the demarcation? How far do we go in how our engagement is with the world? But the calling really is for us to be the salt of the earth, and salt is put right where there's no salt. So that's the tension that you and I must live, especially if you want to shine for God. I think if we are together like this, many voices are put together, then we can be able to speak with one voice and say, this is what we demand. For example, where's the failure now? The failure is that we have failed to live a Christian life, because if we did our duty well, then we would say no to the thief and they have to go. Kenya is supposed to be a Christian country. But it's very embarrassing because the so-called Christians are reading Bible privately, they are not engaging, while the thieves and robbers are roaming. So I think it is for us to get out of our little cocoons and engage the world, and let's say no. This is where the selflessness, this is why we sacrifice comes from, this is why people die for what they believe in. People that we hold very high are people who did things, not because they were popular, but because they had a conviction. And the conviction has to challenge the world, and that's the calling. Just what I want to say. Back to you, Douglas. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Lala. But before you go, so how many runways do we have at JKIA?
Just what there's two. Mato is correct.
Uh-huh.
There are two. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but he has dropped off. Maybe you would come back and elaborate.
I think I just posted it there. You can read it. We have two runways, yes.
Oh, okay. So Jomo Kenyatta International Airport has two runways, the old and the second. Constructed in 1978 and upgraded in 2015. The Jomo Kenyatta International Airport runway is 4,117 meters long and 45 meters after being renovated to Code E. The runway can handle wide crafts like Boeing 747. So we have two runways. I think let's get that clear. I can still see people are still on that debate in the comment section. So for clarity's sake, we have two runways and Mato is actually right. Kenyan Mandamano.
Mato is one of the most trained people in that field. That is his area that's his forte. So if you want to ask a question, ask Mato. He knows in and out of the airport. Thank you.
So I think Mato should come back and explain to us what we are missing. Because we depend on what is on the news, the rest of us. So, Kenyan Mandamano, Kamili.
Thank you, Douglas. Sorry, I think you called me. My network was a little bit out, so I tried to click, it couldn't work. So I'm glad I'm back. And thank you for those people who are confirming how our country is. I mean, the Jomo Kenyatta Airport, of which we are really, really mad about it. Nobody should take over. Kenyans should take over and take care of it. That is our asset, and nobody from outside should control it. Having two runways, it's a good thing, and we should have another one, despite of this corruption that has been going on in our country. In fact, as far as we have been told many times that Kenya is not poor, Kenya has capacity to take care of itself. It is true. Kwa sababu ukiimagine hawa watu vile wamechukua hii mali, wameweka kwa mfuko, na bado tunaendesha nchi yetu, whatever the case, it shows that we have the capacity of doing our own things in our own way and in a very good way if we have got people who are interested of the country. Hawa ni watu ambao wametokelesha, wanataka kufanya mambo mbaya vile wao wanataka, si vile wananchi wanataka. And I wonder, why do they look for votes? If they are doing things like this, They shouldn't look for votes. They should come and take over the government, and we know these are jambazis. Waache kupretend. They are pretending to be people who are looking for votes from us, good people. Alafu wanatunyanyasa. They are pretending that they are church goers. Alafu wananyanyasa watu. Hebu imagine Ruto pahali ameanzisha habari ya kanisa na pahali yako sahi. Is there any relationship? So he is demolishing each and every picture of our country. And you know, a leader is the picture of the country. Sasa sisi wote kwa nje tunaonekana kama picha yetu ni kama huyo mjambazi. But tunaambia ulimwengu sisi si kama huyo. Ni kivyake, na tumeongea mengi yake na yamejulikana. Watu wasikaje kutuchanganya na huyo mtu. Huyo ni mtu ako kivyake na anafanya maajabu mabaya kivyake. We have never seen such a person in our country doing things openly na mtu muongo ambaye anataka kudanganya watu. By the way, previously, sometimes back, just within the forum, I said this guy is not a liar. Why I said he is not a liar and he is not sick? Because what he is telling us is what exactly he is going to do. What he is telling us that he is not going to do is what he is going to do. So he is not a liar by himself. Sisi ndio tunamuona ati ni muongo, lakini yeye si muongo, anatuambia wazi na tumuelewe ati akisema no, anasema yes. Akisema yes, anasema no. That is how we should understand him. So he's naturally that way. Kwa hivyo si muongo, anatuambia vile atatufanya. Sisi nazi tuweke ngao na tuweke nguvu ya kumuonyesha we are not going to take it anymore. Enough is enough. And go with your rotten behavior. Now, brutality in Kenya, it must happen. Kwa nini? Huyo mtu akijua ni mbaya, lazima ajizingire na wabaya wengine ambao watamprotect. That's why you see, hata sasa anaongea hajui kama kuna watu wamekufa, basi hawezi akajua kwa sababu yeye ndiye anawaua. So what does he want? He wants us to bring the report to him when he has killed. Alafu tukienda kumwambia, unaona, tunawekewa wall, hatuwezi kumfikia. Tunaanza kunyanyaswa. Watu wanakuwa brutally arrested kwa sababu mambo ya kweli inaletwa kwake, lakini anakataa. Sasa sisi wananchi tujiunge pamoja. That is my motto. Working together and thinking together, group thinking, that's the way we can get these people out. And the other thing, these politicians are like, you know, we used to go to church and give testimonies. Ati mimi niliokoka wakati fulani na nilikuwa ninafanya mambo maovu, nilikuwa nafanya nini. That is how these politicians are. They come to us pretending and whatever, but in themselves, that is exactly what they are not. So Kenyans, make no mistake this time round. If all chances come, any chance come that we get these people, all of them, without leaving even a single one. Mtu ambaye yoyote amerambwa na hii mambo ameshikana nayo, imemguza tu kidogo hivi, hata tone kidogo hivi, wote waende. The sickness and the pain we have gone through, it's enough for us to open this swamp and drain it. Kwa hivyo wa Kenya, tujitahidi, mambo yetu tuendelee. Kebaso, tunakuombea Mungu. We have seen all these attempts of them to do damage on you, lakini Mungu ako pamoja nawe. Jikaze, wewe ni kiumbe ambacho ni cha maana sana nchi ya Kenya right now. Na uendelee na kazi yako. Usififie na usisikize hizo sauti zinatoka pandi kando na kando. Hao ni watu ambao hawana maono na hawana commitment ya mambo mazuri. Asante Douglas, all the best. Asante kwa kuongoza forum today. Asante sana kwa kunisikiza. Thank you.
Asante mama. Kenyan maandamano kamili. So okay, so at this point I think it's a good point. It's a good place to wrap it up. But before we do that, I think I had a bite, one more bite that I wanted to play it for you. But before we do that, we had a poll question. Was asking you, do you think Parliament was right? Do you think Parliament was right to halt the controversial JKIA Adani deal? 89% of you out of the 64 votes on the backup channel say yes, while 11% say no. Parliament was not right. On the main channel, we have 86 votes. 90% of you say yes, Parliament was right, while 10% of you actually, well, it's computing again. 92 votes. 88% say yes, 12% say no. So I want us to just have this one last bite. Then when we come back, I will have your final takes. Then we can call it. We can call it a wrap.
Kwa mwili ya Wetangula mwenyewe hakuna jeraha yoyote. Kama Wetangula ametairi hapo na jeraha moja peke yake na inamsaidia yeye. Moja peke yake. Lakini mimi majeraha imejaa. Let him understand leo aelewe kwamba the smell of tear gas is the smell of freedom. Ajue hivyo. Wakati yeye anapigwa tear gas anatoa makamazi, sisi tunanusa freedom peke yake. Ama namna gani? The darkest hour is before dawn. Watu wetu lazima tuelewe kwa mahali imefikia sasa, ukombozi unafika. Na mimi sitaki mrudi nyuma, si ndio? Jamii zote za Trans Nzoia msidanganywe. Niliambia wakale juzi kule Kiptoro. Wale wakale ambao wanachukia mimi kabisa. Hata hapa wengine wako na wananiangalia saa hii. Wewe kama unachukia mimi ni mkale kabisa uko ndani ya UDM mkale, kuja hapa, wewe upige simu yako kwa Ruto na mimi nipige, tuone atachukua ya nani. Kuja hapa saa hii kama wewe ni mwanaume. Kuja upige hapa tupige, mimi nipige na wewe upige, tuone atachukua ya nani. Ujinga mingi. Ona kama hapa unapiga siasa hapa, barabara itengenezwi, hakuna maji, na wewe unasema tu tuko kwa serikali. Jiunge na wengine tubadilishe dunia hii bwana. Ama namna gani? Tubadilishe Kenya. Hii maisha ambayo tumeishi, watoto wetu wameishi, wazazi wetu waliishi, msikubali wajukuu wetu waishi maisha hapana. Wale watu ambao wanatugawanya kule Nairobi wanakaa pamoja. Ukienda kule Karen hakuna ukabila. Ukienda Runda hakuna ukabila. Ukienda kule kwingine Mutaiga hakuna ukabila. Ukikuja Machawa kuna ukabila. Kwa sababu gani? Kwa nini? Kwa sababu watu hawajui kwamba ile maisha ambayo tunaishi mbaya iko na uhusiano kubwa sana na mambo ya uongozi ambao tunachagua. Ile siku tutagundua hiyo siri, mambo yetu yatakuwa sawa sawa. Mambo ya ukabila haisaidii mtu akanashua haikusaidii chochote. Ukabila inafanya unachukia mwenzako bila sababu. Ukienda hospitali wakisema unataka kuwekewa damu O positive ama ile yako, wewe wanauliza jamii yako.
Well, that's Governor Trans Nzoia, Governor Natembea. So your final thoughts, PGR?
Yeah, just my final thought is, go on. Say that again, sorry.
Oh, your final thoughts. We are closing.
All right. My blood really boils when I see where Kenya will be heading to. And Lala, you were mentioning about me not voting, and I didn't realize you didn't vote the last election. You didn't vote either. So really, literally, you're preaching or you're not practicing because you didn't vote. You said your reason because you're out of the country, but people in diaspora, they had their voters counted. So you're just as worse as me. At least for me, I have a valid reason is I'm not going to vote anybody who doesn't. I think that they don't qualify to rule my lovely country of Kenya. Plus, on top of that, when you only vote, either only vote opposition or will vote your government yiko, saizi it doesn't make any difference because saizi wanajiita broad-based government. Wote wamekuja pamoja. Who's the stupid? The stupid one is the person who voted. That was not me. I never voted. So when you vote, nyinyi wote, sa government is the whole thing. Nataka kusema kitu kimoja mbio kama closing apart from that was just by the way. Kenyans, we need to open our eyes. kuna seedlings za GMO saizi, hatuna organic food anymore in Kenya. We need to open our eyes on that. Hiyo ilikuwa solved by wakati Bill Gates alikuja na agenda yake. Saizi kukuwa na organic maize, kupata organic, ile organic saizi ni ngumu. Yeyote anajua, yeyote mwenye ana organic seedlings aweke safe, kwa sababu saizi zinakuwa demolished. Organic food now is demolished. The country is absolutely heading to, we're dicing with the beast, dicing with the devil. Country is absolutely left to the dogs. It's heading in a wrong direction. Digital ID, nasikia saizi watoto wakishazaliwa hospitalini watapatiwa digital ID. Yote kwa kitabu ya Revolution. Kuna bigger fish. We're talking about small things, but kuna another bigger agenda. It's happening. Nobody is talking about it. I think I'll leave that for now because that's the story. It can open a different kind of worms. Let me leave that as a story for another day. Asanteni kila mtu kwa kuwa hapa kwa jukwaa. Mungu akuwe na nyinyi. Have a good night and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, PGR. Pen, your final thoughts?
Asante sana jana yangu Douglas. Na my final thought ya kwamba I'm very glad I talked after you BTR. Na nikumuomba, very kindly to really vote. Kwa sababu vile umesema ni kweli. You said the truth that those who voted for this government personally, those who are against it, now are all ashamed. It is true. There is no argument on that. But those who voted had hope, and those who voted for the other side had hope for that. Lakini huwezi kutupa hiyo hope yote na useme there is no clean government. There is nobody who is clear to vote for. You can have a debate here for a long time. Na Reverend, thank you very much. Na vile tulitengeneza constitution ya 2010 BJR ni kwamba Kenya is a democracy, and a democracy will always vote those who win and those who lose. But what these people have done is not according to the constitution of 2010. Na hapo hatukubaliani. We don't agree with this system about broad-based government nonsense. It's really stupid or ignorant, because broad-based meaning what? What did you fight for? We fought for this constitution for many years so that Kenya can be a democracy in as far as other Western countries are. But the broad-based government about their formed BJR is something very strange to us, and we will never agree with it. Kwamba, let us pursue vile maandamano amesema. Let us pray for this young guy Nani Kebaso, and let us pray for people like that to move forward our country. Thank you, Sana Douglas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Okay. I don't know. Lala has dropped off. I don't know what just happened, but okay, it looks like if he is not able to come back, give us his last remarks, then Mama Kenya maandamano atatufungia.
Thank you, Douglas. I have watched people stand, tell us things that we want to hear, but they are not ashamed of acting the opposite of what they have told us. Na mtu yule mkweli ndiye anapata madhara kwa nchi yake. This is not a broad-based government. It's a bure-based government. Sababu mambo ile yote tunaona, hakuna kitu inatuongoza anywhere. Ni wao wanajiongoza. Na yale mambo maovu wanafanya, hawajifanyii wao, wanafanyia wanyonge. And that is why you see people every day they are fighting for their freedom, for their well-being, lakini hawapatiwi nafasi. And in fact, when you look at people when they are being arrested, hawana kitu kwa mkono, si ati wametoa vita. They are going peacefully on their business to do what they expected to do for that day. But when you look the fisi, wanyama ambao mnakutana na wao, binadamu wanyama ambao wako tayari kukushika na kukunyanyasa, kukufanya maovu yote, unashindwa walilala wapi? Walilala wakifikiri nini? Where do you feel that voice from an evil person tells you to go and do evil, and you will exactly do that? Hata kama wewe ni polisi, surely the work of your policing, it's just the safety of the wananchi, not being the one to attack them. Sababu huyu Boniface alimuattack huyo polisi, alikimbiza huyo polisi, ndio polisi akageuka akamshika akasema ulikuwa unanikimbiza. These young men, they are fighting for their future, and there will be no peace in this country if this continues. There will be no peace, kwa sababu na hii enmity inatengenezwa na huyu jambazi tu. Anatumia voice, na wale wanachukua hiyo voice wanaenda kutimiza kwa wananchi ambao hawana madhara yoyote towards anybody. Wao wanafanya mambo ambayo yanafaa kila wakati. I'm sorry, the way we see our children suffering, the way we see our Kenyans suffering when we are helpless. But one day, hii kitu itakuja kufika mwisho, na itafika mwisho wakashangae. So I pray for my country. Mungu lazima atakuwa na sisi kila siku, sababu alituumba kwa upendo wake na anajua why we are in that country where we found ourselves in. He never made a mistake. He knows our benefit for that country. So we will survive na hii nchi itasimama. Mungu awabariki sana, and we meet again. Thank you Douglas for the guidance of the forum. Tunashukuru kwa sababu tumeweza kutoa maono yetu kwa wakati huu, na ninawaombea wote tuwe pamoja. The only thing is unite to fight for this country, our beloved mother country, Kenya. Asante Douglas. Thank you.
Thank you, mama yetu Kenyan maandamano kamili. I don't think I will add or subtract on that. I'll just leave that to boil in your head as you head to finish the rest of the night wherever you are. It's now 10 minutes past 3 a.m. here in Nairobi. It's a good place to call it a wrap. But first, before I end it, just to recognize some of you who have been with me in the comment section. Due diligence has been there. I'm not gonna read the comment section. I'm just going to recognize your contribution there. Esther Kabiru, we had Eli Omondi Odhiambo, of course we had Lala, Annie has been with me since they started the show. We had Domboy Jacobs, KK, George Mugambi, Mato dropped off. Mato, kwani umejam? I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Tunay Mohammed, of course, who has been supporting me throughout the show. Trufosa Chieng, Asili to TV, and all of you who've been tuned in the show. Thank you for tuning into the show. In the studio, I had Pen Nyagaka, I had Kenyan Mandamano Kamili, I had Lala, who's dropped off, has had an issue with his connection. I had PGR, I had Mato, okay, not Mato, Kenyan with Love / Kenya Mkora. I had, I had sorry, I've forgotten your name. I had Keep something. I've forgotten your name, but sorry for that. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for coming into the studio to have this conversation with me. it's a good place to end it. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Good night, and may God be with you the rest of the night. Thank you.
We are not going to consider anyone. We are going to start from even the head of the state. We are going to the governors. We are coming to the senators, to the members of parliament, to MCS and women. We are going to deal with you. Hata mkikuwa wapi, tukiona tu gari yenu tuna stone hiyo gari. Mkipitia hii finance bill, mtaona, mtajua ni nyinyi ndio tumeweka kwa hiyo.
Katambe, ni nyinyi mmechoose hiyo side, hakuna mtu amewaforce. Wacha Katambe, kama unitambui, pia mimi sikutambui boss. Wacha Katambe, mnasema mnataka kupea Kenya bright future. True, juu Zakayo akishuka nirudishia kila mtu mali yake times
4. Jiulize swali wewe, kama Mkenya mwenzangu. Dedan Kimathi, Achieng' Oneko, Martin Shupuku, Matiba, JM Kariuki, Helena Chelagat, Wangari Maathai, George Anyona, ungekuwa wapi sasa? Ungekuwa hapa nje ya bunge ukirepresent sauti ya wananchi. So on Tuesday tunataka kuchunga hii building. Tuambie mkinge kwa hiyo bunge, you vote the people want. Huo Ruto aende angalie budget yake, aseme kitu ambacho nataka to reduce. Hii nchi ni yetu. Nchi si ya Ruto ama mama ya Ruto. This country belongs to all of us. So the sovereign power belongs to the people. Sisi tumepatia Ruto kazi. Na tumesema kama as taxpayers, you have to listen to our voices, because the people's voice is the voice of God.